On today's episode of the Sagely Stage Stooges podcast, we're talking about the gaming industry. So, without further ado, take it away, Nina.
What the fuck is this and where the shit is my adoring audience?
Hello, and welcome to the first ever Devolver Direct, with an amazing first look at some fantastic Devolver digital titles coming fresh to video games this year and next. It's a fantastic video game year for video games this year already, and we at Devolver simply can't wait to show you what our video game developer friends have been video game developing this year in video games. It's been an amazing year and a fantastic video game year for all the...
Yeah, no, that's not a thing. Hey, you! What the shit am I doing here?
So you basically just announce games and stuff, man. It's pretty straightforward.
No shit, which ones?
Well, there's a list here.
Which ones first?
Fall Guys from Mediatonic. It's a crazy online multiplayer thing, it says.
Will it rock socks and robot jocks and get these panties straight bopping?
I think so, ma'am. It says here it's super tits awesome.
Shit hot, that's great. Oh, roll the trailer or whatever.
Oh, yes, we are back. Just like Nina said, we're here to get your panties bopping. It's the Sagely Stage Stooges. My name is Steven. I am joined by Josh and Chris and Grady, two of which are sharing the same room. We'll let you guess who it is.
It's me and Steven.
Lies!
What is this about bopping panties?
Yeah, so I I wanted to intro the show with a clip from Devolver Digital's E3
yes.
press conference, and where Nina says, "Is it gonna rock your socks, robot jocks, and get my panties straight bopping?" So here we are, getting your panties straight bopping.
I'll get Nina's panties straight dropping. She'll probably cut it off afterwards, though.
Is that like a new whack Weasel Bop game? You know.
Whack-a-mole?
Yeah, that's the one.
Weasel Bop.
But instead of moles, it's panties. It's called panty
sure.
bopping.
Panty bopping.
Weasel
On video.
Bop sounds like the shitty Eastern Bloc version of Whack-a-Mole. Well, we have Weasel Bop.
Weasel Bop.
We do not play stupid capitalist whack-a-mole here. We are into Weasel Bop.
We play good socialist Weasel Bop.
Or you could do like the sock and boppers, but panties.
Sock and bopper. Wait, sock and
Panty
panties.
boppers.
Sock and panties.
No, I need panty boppers, right?
Sock and panties. Come on.
That's just punching people in the panties.
We're off to a great start.
Are we always?
So
No.
we sort of wanted to talk about E3, but it's too far past E3 happening to really kind of dive into the news. But as we were just kind of randomly talking about, what we were going to talk, it just kind of organically we started kind of discussing how different E3 has become, especially from last year to this year. It seems like we've had some of the biggest changes in E3's sort of politics or whatever you want to call it. So we're going to kind of talk through some of the changes that we've seen in in E3, particularly through the last year, from 2018's E3 to this year's. I did just want to go speed round through just a couple of bits. If anyone has something just really like something they really want to talk about whatever a game, just go ahead and chime in. But some of the things I thought were more noteworthy than others from E3 this year. Elden Ring looks fucking awesome.
I mean, George R. R. Martin and From Software. How can you go wrong with that?
Yeah, it looks incredible.
Well, they could never finish writing the game. That's one way.
No, I was actually bringing this up with some people a while back because I was like, okay, I love From Software games. They're going to be talking about one of the last major one a little later. But when they announced, yes, we are doing Elden Ring and George R. R. Martin is working with us on it, I can imagine, how many people who don't give a shit about, anything else other than just the Game of Thrones novels, how many of them got pissed off? Like, okay, motherfucker, get back to the novels. Stop doing other stuff.
True. That's true. But yeah, it looks really cool. Obviously it's just a teaser trailer, so it doesn't really show much, but it looks it looks wild.
Yeah, if I remember, there wasn't really any gameplay. It was mostly
No. There's nothing in engine, but it's like
but
Lord of the
does
Rings
look neat.
meets Dark Souls.
Josh, the whole point of this E3 was no gameplay.
Oh yeah,
gameplay.
yeah.
You like games?
Deathloop.
Well, we won't show you how they look.
Yeah, if we want to talk about another game that we didn't get to see any gameplay in, Deathloop. It's the guys who made Dishonored. I don't know. It looks like Groundhog's Day meets BioShock meets Dishonored.
Without
I guess.
Bill Murray.
And I love Dishonored, man. That was pretty. I like both of them.
Did you play 2?
Watch Dogs Legion, I guess. I don't know. Looks weird.
Yep.
Yeah, it's Watch Dogs, I guess.
Yeah, it's like they have the ability to like recruit anyone. It's in London, like during Brexit, and like you can play as like any human
Brexit.
in the streets.
You can play as
it looks-
Boris Johnson.
I was thinking,
Boris Johnson.
I didn't know anything about this game, so I was like gonna ask something stupid. Are you dogs?
Like,
Like,
You've never played a Watch Dogs game, Granny? You don't know what it is? It's a hacking game plus shooting game.
well, I don't know. I haven't played it. So I was like, are you like dogs? But then he said you can play and as any human. I was like, oh.
That sounds like the exact opposite.
You're a dog during Brexit.
in the trailer that they did, they controlled like an old woman, like an old like grandma looking
A former
chick,
assassin
and
old lady.
She had like a taser and she snuck up behind a dude and tased. Anyway,
Good for her.
Ghostwire Tokyo again. We didn't see any gameplay.
Shinji
but
Mikami, right?
I don't know. It looks
Resident
cool. Yeah.
Evil's daddy.
Yeah. Breath of the Wild 2. Again, no gameplay.
Who needs gameplay,
But
man?
I mean, it's a sequel. It's a direct sequel from Breath of the Wild, so that's unique in Zelda's. I think the only time that's ever happened was
Zelda 2 and Majora's Mask. And Zelda 2 was incredibly different from Zelda 1, and Majora's Mask was incredibly different from Ocarina of Time.
right. And then I think the Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks.
Yes. Phantom Hourglass, and then, Spirit Tracks came next. I guess, Steven, would you say that Phantom Hourglass is technically kind of a direct sequel? They're not, okay,
To Wind Waker, kind of.
but none of those are the same link.
Yeah.
None of those are the same link, I don't think.
I guess so. I guess you could argue that.
Actually,
yeah.
okay, Phantom Hourglass might be the same link as Wind Waker, but Spirit Tracks is way later because there's
okay.
because the one like your roommate is the lowliest pirate in Wind Waker, but he's super old,
Is Link like divorced at this point?
Oh, that's right. That's right.
which means Link died and was reincarnated by the point that.
Yeah, right. So yeah, I don't know. It looks whatever.
I'd like to see a Zelda game with like an old Link and he's divorced and has to pay like child
He
support.
has to pay child support. No, we were talking about that earlier because when Steven mentioned it was a direct sequel, I thought that might be a possibility because with an engine that complex, like I didn't think they would just trash it and start all over again. They were going to do
They're
something.
called Native
Oh, yeah,
Americans.
for sure. Jesus.
Engine. I was like, I was going through my backlog in my memory of words I said.
It's like, what could I possibly have said? Luigi's Mansion.
Stoked for it. Stoked.
Yeah,
man.
it'll be great.
We love Luigi in mansions.
Did any of y'all
great.
play Dark Moon?
Oh yeah.
I played on the dark side of the moon.
Okay, so you're dead. So you are a zombie,
Yeah,
Josh.
I'm dead.
Frozen zombie.
That is
Josh.
okay. Quick question: can zombies survive in space? I mean, the pressure I think probably would
Well, no,
the
they
lack
just
of pressure
freeze.
or
Just
whatever would
freeze.
freeze them.
That's the thing. They would freeze.
I like how you mentioned the
so
pressure
I think
thing,
they
so we can reference Futurama's. Well, how many atmospheres of pressure can the ship take? Well, that's a spaceship, so I'd say anywhere between 0 and 1.
Anyway, that's for a different cast, but just popped in my head.
I'd say probably. I mean, they would just freeze if
Yeah.
they were to unfreeze.
They would continue being zombies?
So, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, no, I'm stoked for it. I just wish it was coming out earlier because they said it's coming out on Halloween, but I want
Right,
all of
yeah.
October to play spooky games. I don't want the final day.
Yeah.
but not everybody does entirely October spooky.
Yeah, but who cares about them?
You
They're
would
wrong.
think they would release it ahead of time because, like, it seems to me after October 31st, it's like, okay, Halloween, and then, like, the next day, it's like,
Christmas.
Fuck,
I mean,
Halloween is over. We're moving on.
Yeah.
You know, like...
Well, they also want it right around that hot holiday buying games time.
I guess that is kind of the kickoff to the season.
Yep.
So, but they could release it like October 1st or something. Come on. Or the first Tuesday of the month or whatever all the movies do.
I just get to play a spooky game after Halloween, and I get to extend the season. I guess whatever.
There you go.
Pokemon Sword and Shield.
Okay.
It looks really bad, actually, like graphically.
Well,
I don't see why we need swords and shields if we have Pokemon.
Yeah, the whole idea is the trainers don't fight, you know.
Yeah.
I want a Pokemon game that introduces that mechanic where the
all
trainer,
proxy
if he's
wars,
really worried, can run in and kick the other Pokemon.
Like, you can't really...
Or shoot them worse.
Well, I don't know. I think there's something to be said for it being called Sword and Shield because you're using your Pokemon as weapons.
Yeah, like the whole idea is your Pokemon are fighting proxy wars for you.
And defense. You hold your Pikachu in front of you if somebody attacks you.
Use your pet as a shield.
Yeah, that was the point. But like, what are the main controversies? Like, they're introducing that Pokedex thing, or the Pokemon Home, and you can transfer your Pokemon between games. But in terms of Sword and Shield, you can only transfer in Pokemon that are in the game's Pokedex, I think.
Yeah, so the Pokebank has been restricted
That's
a little
Pokemon
bit, I
Bank,
think, for Sword and Shield. There's some restrictions from the Pokemon Bank from Sword and Shield and the other ones, the older ones. But also graphically, it's worse than Sun and Moon, than Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon.
Do you think so?
Like,
really?
On a lot of the trailers that they've shown and stuff, there's like so much like texture clipping and like collision that like somewhat like a character will be wearing a bracelet, right? And they move their arm and the bracelet like clips through their arm. Like,
is this on the same platform as the previous game?
No, it's on the Switch. This is the first main console Pokemon game.
And then the other one was on
3DS.
So yeah, it should look a lot better then, right?
Well,
it should look significantly better, and that's the thing is that they just did Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu, and those games look significantly better than Sword.
To go towards what Steven is saying, I think along with that is the fact that when people got mad about the Pokedex issue, a lot of people, when Nintendo responded, or more like, or Game Freak responded, they said, we want to spend more time focusing on upgrading the animations and the visual fidelity of the Pokemon themselves, and as such, we can't spend all this time doing it on 800 some odd Pokemon. To which a lot of the fans responded, well, just delay the game, we don't mind waiting. And the other thing that they said was, oh, you're really interested in the animations, huh? And then they showed like 3 different human avatars in the game. Like, you're a character and like 2 other people, and all reacting to like being happy, and they all had the same exact animation. The same exact one. So you're gonna spend all this time.
Well, everyone expresses happiness in the same way.
Yeah.
This reminds me, this is not on our show notes or anything, but it does kind of have a loose tie into E3 is they teased they showed some gameplay and stuff from The Sims 4 Island Living. Yeah. And one of the things that's been going on in the Sims community is they've been kind of complaining about the simplistic animations you get.
I think I've seen a video of this.
Yeah. Simplistic animations you get on such things as like when they make dinner or they play chess or something, comparing it to way back in the day in Sims 2, where they would actually have like little details of everything. Like, sure, okay, the gameplay overall was like clunkier, but if you're talking about like kind of the animation differences, like now the chess games like all play through the same same game every time, and the Sims don't move it. It just hovers around and stuff. So,
great.
Yeah.
Are you great? I must be mishearing you. Are you trying to tell me that EA is cutting corners?
I'm insinuating it, if not outright claiming it. Yeah.
I mean, we've had this discussion, SimCity 4 versus SimCity.
What if in the Sims reality, chess is just that? Like, it's the same game. You just sit down and play it and go through the motions like a Civil War reenactment.
And the chessboard always does the same thing.
Like there's no competition. It's just an act of replaying this game.
It's just a performance.
Yeah. That must be it. But apparently now it's not just EA. It's also the new Pokemon
Yep.
Yeah, this is gonna be Game Freak's. This is, I think, their first real incidence of like major backlash. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, okay, so they'll redeem themselves to some degree if, like they say, the like fidelity and animation and of the actual Pokemon is like incredible and really good, because that's obviously the point. Yeah. So they'll be redeemed a little bit for that, but like don't put so much focus on all of the like gym leaders and here, and all that stuff. If that's not the focus of the game, like show us more Pokemon. Right. If that's where you're putting all your work, we've had like 4 or 5. Besides the starters, announced new Pokemon. Like, show us more Pokemon. Don't show us the trainers.
Show us your Pokemon. Your Pokemon.
Yeah, I haven't played one in forever. The thing that worries me the most when they talk about it is apparently the last couple of titles haven't had a lot of great in-game content. One of
X and Y did, I thought.
Yeah, maybe. I'm just saying that like for a couple there haven't been, and as someone who the last real titles other than Pokemon Let's Go, Pikachu, which we'll talk on a little bit later. But like,
hey, let's go, Pikachu.
Moro, protect my balls.
Yes.
I've heard that there are people a lot of complaining, talking about how a lot of them haven't had that. And I remember finishing Pokemon Silver and then, the remake of it later. And, you finish the main island, all of a sudden, oh, by the way, now you can play the original game completely.
Now you can go back to
Kanto region.
Kanto or whatever.
Kanto.
Cool, yeah.
Yeah. And they haven't really done anything that major in a long time.
That's true. That is absolutely
it's
true.
Probably harder.
The thing about X and Y that I liked a lot was that there were just a shitload of legendaries. And so that's been sort of their version of like endgame content, which I guess is annoying to a lot of people. I understand that. Like, after you kind of beat the game, then you have like these tons of like all these legendaries that you can go. And anyway, I digress.
How many Pokemon are there now? Does anyone know?
800 something.
Jesus.
Yeah, that's over 800.
With Sun and Shield, it'll be over 800 plus.
150 and way more to see.
Can we do the Pokemon rap? Can we do a Pokemon rap with all 800 some odd?
Oh, God.
Jesus Christ.
Like a 3-hour Pokemon rap.
Yeah.
There's only 45 more parts to go! Catch him, gotta catch him all.
Catch us next week, yeah.
Catch us tomorrow, I think is what it was.
Yeah.
Anyway.
We, E3 showed us a little more of the Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Whatever.
I didn't think it looked impressive at all.
Yeah, I don't remember being very impressed.
It looked cool-ish. Yeah, it looked fine.
It looked like Force Unleashed, except what I noticed was one of the major things from some of the more popular games, like the Jedi Academy games, was letting you cut off people's arms and limbs and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So that's been...
they just have the sparks.
That's been completely removed. Nothing about any of those gameplay trailers looked interesting at all to me.
Which, that's wild, because like Star Wars already sanitized that from the very beginning by saying that they cauterized the wounds. That's like why, so they could show...
So that no blood.
Yeah. And it's like, that's...
Well, except for the original.
And they've been dying that stuff down for a while.
Obi-Wan's saber had been cool for quite a long time. Yeah. It was still warming up.
So that's the thing, man, is like you look at the original trilogy and how much dingier it was. And like, Luke getting his hand cut off and stuff. But even in, the more kid-friendly prequels, I mean, you got people getting cut in half.
Mm-hmm.
So,
true.
And I don't remember.
Had at least one guy get cut in half.
Well, at least one. One of the main ones. But I just don't know why. Like, I guess that the ESRB would make it E-rated or mature rated if you had dismemberment. But like, it feels so...
Probably.
But the thing is, when you hit somebody with a lightsaber in a game and nothing... comes
and
off.
have no consequence to it, yeah.
In a modern game, because they did that in KOTOR and KOTOR 2.
KOTOR,
but that's an RPG, and it's very like
D&D, but
D&D style
in a video game. Yeah.
Right.
But in this situation, whenever in modern action games, it just feels like you're hitting them with a glowing stick.
Yeah. Ouch. I fell over hurt.
Some of the movement and force powers and stuff looked kind of cool because it's the same guys who do Titanfall.
Yeah.
So, like, the wall running and some of the jumping and, like, you kind of add force powers to some of that.
I like that
cool.
that's...
But yeah, no. The combat looked pretty. It looked elegant. But, yeah, it does look a little unnatural.
I like that they throw that in every game. It's like, you can wall run. That's like their thing.
That's that studio's thing.
Do parkour to learn about your body.
Apex, I guess, you can't wall run.
Yeah. No, you can. You can run up a wall.
Yeah, you can do something.
You can run a wall.
Well, yeah, you can go up them, but you can't,
you can't wall run. Did y'all ever play Star Wars Obi-Wan for the original Xbox? Or PS2?
Probably.
Yeah. You could even cut off hands in that game. It's so strange to think about. Like,
Plus, cutting off hands is like iconic Star Wars. So.
no, that goes back.
But I mean, you couldn't in Force Unleashed. That wasn't a thing.
Which I think people complained about. They were saying, you gave me all these huge force powers. I got to drag a Star Destroyer out of the sky, but I can't cut off a person's hand.
And what's so bad about getting a higher, maturity rating or something? I mean,
money.
Why do we need to cut off people's hands? Is the question.
Well, because if you have a higher maturity rating, you're cutting out probably a big chunk of what would be a Star Wars game.
I think you should rate it teen, because we've seen teen-rated Star Wars games where you can cut off people's limbs, and I feel like...
you can, convince somebody to give you all their money and commit suicide. We've seen some dark shit.
Yeah, that's why those games are so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was a different time.
That's a good point, Go Grady, because when you look at the morality
A lot of
choices
the
in those
ESRB
games, it's always
changed.
like, do you want to strangle the puppy, or do you want to spend a lot of money taking care of the puppy for the rest of your life?
Yeah.
Those are your only two options.
That question seems a little weighted.
All right, Fable.
Fable. Oh my god, that's a whole different...
Which, by the way, we still have not seen anything from Fable, even though Microsoft keeps talking about it.
We'll never see another Fable.
Speaking of Microsoft, we did sort of pseudo or teased Microsoft's new console, which is supposedly going to launch next holiday, so 2020, holiday season 2020, Project Scarlet, what they're calling it right now. We really don't know anything about it except for that they're touting it as being ridiculously powerful.
And I've heard you have to wear a letter
that
on
the
your
PS5
vest
is going to be
one.
more powerful than it already.
But isn't it coming
Yeah,
later?
I mean...
I don't know. They haven't said no, I was telling Grady, I've heard rumors that the PS5 is already, based on the specs, that the PS5 is already more powerful than it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that was the thing, the Project Scarlet, they were like, Microsoft's releasing a new, which they haven't done in forever, a new flight simulator that they're going to be able to put on the console.
Yeah. Actually looked pretty good.
Yeah, I want to pick
Yeah,
that up.
so that'll be interesting to track as the year progresses. And apparently, while this is also the year of no gameplay, it's also the year of remakes.
Man, that's been the case for a while, though. But here it was.
Isn't every year the year of remakes?
Well, it's just they just keep stacking up and stacking up. Obviously, Final Fantasy VII's been going on for a bajillion years now, and now we know that we're going to get Episode 1 sometime in early next year, March I think, of next
spring,
year. Yeah. They're remastering Final Fantasy VIII.
Which no one cares.
Blah.
Yeah.
Last Remnant remaster. It's a good game. They re-released
I don't know what last
Trials of...
who cares?
It was an old 360 kind of action RPG kind of thing.
Oh, wait, hold on. I was thinking of Lost Odyssey. That's a different game.
Different game. Different game. Lost Odyssey, I liked probably better.
That was nearby. That was a launch title, essentially, wasn't it?
Is Last Remnant like a JRPG?
They both are.
It's sort of. It's like an action RPG in JRPG. JR action PG.
Okay.
Yeah, essentially, yes, great.
It looks JRPG just from the images that I searched. That's why I asked.
Yeah, but I don't think it has that.
But it's like Dragon Age style run around stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
It's more like the Trials games. Anyway, speaking of the Trials of Mana, that we got the re-release.
I bought
of all that
it
stuff.
It was the bundle. You had the Final Fantasy Adventures, which is the first Mana game. Then you have Secrets of Mana, and then you had Trials of Mana. And they re-released because Trials never came out here. But now they have those three, and then they're later on going to release a remake of Trials of Mana, where it's completely made up.
Panzer Dragoon remaster, which I didn't hear about. I just found that out while I was reading stuff. That's a wild throwback to the Sega Saturn.
They released a Panzer Dragoon Orda, I think it was, for the Xbox One.
Oh, that's right, for the Xbox.
Well,
yeah,
I played that for
game
a
was
while,
bad.
but I got bored with it.
Yeah. Phantasy Star Online 2.
Man,
I'm
that was
pretty
what I was going to
thrilled
say.
about this one. That one, and for me and
Hells
Josh,
yeah.
for Final Fantasy Star Online 2, and Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles.
Hells yeah. Play the shit out of
Excited
both
about
of those
this.
back in the day. And hopefully
Yeah.
we'll
So we'll
again.
see about Online 2. Yeah, I don't know about PSO 2. I don't.
I don't
we
think
don't
it
really-
showed a lot of gameplay, just like anything else. But yeah, I mean,
Well, for E3 2019, no gameplay, you say?
but yeah, I remember we were watching the stream, and I was like, "Dude, this has got to be Phantasy Star Online." Like, and then it, finally at the end, revealed it. It looks very Phantasy Star, but
Hopefully the combat's a little more
Yes,
updated.
it would be nice to have a little bit of an updated combat. Pressing
But,
A
and
at the right
then-
times and such.
Yeah. Yeah. Link's Awakening, which looks adorable, and I'm super excited
I was gonna
for it.
ask you how you felt about the art style.
I love it. I think it's so
yeah,
cute.
it looks like little figurines.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. I pre-ordered the amiibos and everything.
Didn't the remake for the Game Boy Advance, didn't that have the figurine collecting thing? Was that Awakening? Did it have that?
Oh, you know what? I think so. It was either that or one of the Four Swords ones.
It wasn't Four Swords because I haven't beaten any of those.
Okay.
I hadn't seen the Link's Awakening trailer, so I'm just now watching it. Yeah, I dig it.
Yeah, it's cute. I love it. I think, I think it suits Link's Awakening because that game was just fucking bizarre.
It's really different. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I remember playing it way back in the day on the Game Boy. That shit was
It's like, why are there
why happened?
Yoshis and fucking chain chomps?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Bob-ombs and in Link's. What is happening?
I mean, yeah, I was a kid, so I was like,
yeah,
I don't
that
give a
was-
shit. Let's just play this game. But
Let's play this game.
Anyway, I don't know if it was the game with the figurine collecting, but if it is, that's amazing because that would make sense. But I'm not sure.
it's a
It
good-
was
a
that
good
or
mesh.
I don't remember.
Minish Cap, maybe? I don't know.
I was thinking it was that or Minish Cap, but I don't think it was Minish Cap.
And then Sega throws their hat into the mini console ring.
Sega.
Well, from what I've seen announced, it's looking to be a lot better than Sony's attempt with the PlayStation 1. That thing was
Yeah, that one was
trash and no one bought it. And I think you can find it for
Yeah,
like $40 right now, and it started at $100.
You can find what?
The PlayStation 1 Classic, the little mini console that they had, it had crap games on it, and they actually used an emulator that wasn't their own, that was trash.
Oh no.
And it was terrible. The games played worse, and people kept saying, are you going to fix this? They never made a comment, then they released it, and then people were sending in pictures of like Best Buys or Targets or whatever. And these things would be stacked to high heavens, and no one was buying them. And I think they started at like $99, and now they're like at $40. Like, no one wants these things.
Yeah, it's like, you see like that's like a web comics all over the place. Like,
Yeah.
oh man, it's look at that, it's $40. Maybe that's cheap enough that I'll buy it.
No.
And then they get up and they look around. They're like, is there an employee? Do you see an employee?
It's a
No.
it's a PlayStation
All right,
Mini.
fuck it. It's not worth
It's
it.
a
Let's leave.
PlayStation Mini that doesn't have any Tomb Raider games on it. It has no Crash Bandicoot games on it. It has, I think, one Jumping Flash game on it. Like, all these classic games it just doesn't have. I don't think there's any Metal Gear on it at all. I don't
No, yeah.
I don't remember. But, like, it's just a bunch of games no one gives a fuck about. No Final Fantasy VII.
But the Sega one, it's got a bunch. You've got Sonic, Toe Jam and Earl, Castlevania Bloodlines, which, that's a great one. Echo the Dolphin, which is underrated.
Echo the Dolphin's
Altered
nuts.
Beast.
It's a weird fucking game.
Altered Beast is good.
Altered Beast.
Castle of Illusion, that game is incredible.
Oh, Mickey Mouse?
Yeah. That game is Earthworm Jim.
Earthworm Jim.
Contra, Ghouls and Ghosts if you hate yourself. Alex Kidd, Golden Axe, Phantasy Star. A bunch of really good games. Kid Chameleon.
Yeah.
It's it's looking pretty good. September 19th, 2019.
What about Gex?
For
No one talks about Gex anymore.
Gex, man.
Gosh, we've got to keep those side conversations to ourselves.
Josh and Grody run the very secret Gex fan club.
Sorry, Grady, I didn't mean to bring it up on cast. We'll talk later.
As someone who's played all of them, I don't care.
So yeah, that's just a little brief. So from a more sort of macro view on the whole thing, let's kind of go through some of the things that were either talked about from last year or this year and how like kind of things have changed. I guess we can start here just because we've kind of teased it already. One of the biggest games that we were excited for in E3 2018 was Sekiro. I don't even think we really knew what it was called at the time.
No, yeah, we knew.
I'm not looking
Sekiro
at
Shadows Die Twice. It was the year before that where you didn't know what it was. It was just this
That's
weird,
right.
like, twisting thing arm. And everyone's like, what the fuck
That's
is
right.
that?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, we got an extended trailer last year, and we were all pumped on it.
Yep. And I called it my game of E3.
Yeah, so for a success of E3 2018, I'll hand it over to Chris.
The Quisatz Haderach of the podcast.
Well,
Don't get your
first
hand
of
cut
all,
off.
just to kind of show where I'm coming from, I'm going to now read a list of every single game from E3 2018 that I played.
Hooray!
Plague Tale Innocence, Days Gone, Devil May Cry 5, Kingdom Hearts 3, Mega Man 11, Metro Exodus, My Friend Pedro, Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu, Rage 2, Resi 2 Remake, Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, The Sinking City, Spider-Man, Spyro Reignited Trilogy, Smash Bros. Ultimate, and Yakuza Kiwami 2. I have far too much disposable income, and people should not let me spend money.
You can just spend it on me.
Yeah.
I'll be your sugar baby.
This is an argument for the socialist revolution so we can prevent stuff like this from happening. But go ahead.
No one should ever play this many games. But no, after E3 2018, I thought about it, and based on From Software's pedigree, because Bloodborne is one of my favorite games of all time, I thought that, I said, based on what I've seen, I would say Sekiro is probably my game of E3. It's the one I'm most excited about. Where I still fall on that is interesting. I've played it through 1.5 times. A bunch of other games came out before I finished my second New Game Plus playthrough. But I will say, in terms of mechanics, this game is phenomenal. The amount of equipment that they give you to use is astounding. The amount of freedom of movement they give you is unprecedented in any sort of Dark Souls game or Bloodborne. What I really like about it is that you have one, you don't have to worry about what weapon to use. You have one. You have your katana. And it's mostly about getting good with that katana. It's a mechanics based in terms of, okay, well maybe try out this weapon for this enemy. No, it's you need to get good at dodging. You need to get dodging to an extent, but mostly need to get good at parrying. This game has a parry mechanic. If you get hit at the wrong way, your staggering meter's going to go up. And if
that
you
whole
hit
system
them the right way,
to me was interesting.
It's really hard to master, but once you do, you can really, really just own some bosses. Getting around is a little bit tougher because the levels are a lot more open, so sometimes it's really hard to tell where you're supposed to go. That was probably that, and learning parrying were the two biggest things for me. Because when I first started, like most people, I started trying to play it like a Souls game or a Bloodborne game, and it doesn't work. I tried, and the levels aren't linear in the way that a lot of those other games are.
From what I heard, I've read about it and I watched you play it, like, instead of the Dark Souls where you dodge, like, it really drives you to combat people. Like, that the stagger system and everything, like, you need to fight people. You can't just dodge them a lot.
If you don't do it, there are certain bosses that you're going to spend all day on. You have to learn how to stagger them, because some of these bosses have just ridiculous health bars. And it's almost the game's way of saying, if you haven't learned the parry mechanic by now, you're going to get your shit handed to you. So they really spend the right amount of time teaching you, like, basically guiding you without telling you if you need to be learning how to do this or it's going to get bad.
That's cool.
The moves you can unlock are really good. There's several different endings, and like any sort of Dark Souls From Software game, it's really, really obscure as to figure out where you need to go with it. But like, it's, if you want the super ending, you have to do all these things that you have to really be paying attention to figure out how to do.
Did you play Neo?
I did play Neo. This is better than Neo by a wide margin. And it's not necessarily Neo's fault. It's just Neo tried to take a Dark Souls formula, but add a loot mechanic. And if you have a loot mechanic, it means that the bosses and the level design around it is going to be less tight because it has to kind of account for the randomized loot drops. So that's my opinion. Okay. I could be completely wrong, but that's how I feel.
No, that makes sense.
I mean, the boss could be harder or easier depending on that.
Yeah, like you could get lucky and get this really good item to use,
but
exactly. But in Sekiro, because you're not going to get that, you need to learn how to fight this boss.
Okay. I kind of like that.
Yeah, so I prefer that. I don't like them. I like Neo, but I'm not going to play 2. I never finished Neo 1. It's just I don't like...
Yeah, I'm probably not going to play 2. I mean, I liked it a lot, but not enough to... It's like, I'd rather just play Sekiro.
I don't want to play a Soulsborne game where I'm constantly managing my inventory and like, okay, what can I get rid of? I don't want to do that.
Fair.
But it's a good game. I would still recommend it to people who like loot-based games that like a challenge. I would 100% still recommend Neo, but it's just
it's a great game. It's for what it is.
Yeah, no, for sure. But
all right,
Sekiro is better.
Yeah, no, Sekiro is one of those that I regret that I have not been able to play yet.
Yeah.
It's definitely on the list.
I think as long as any of y'all are ready, willing to put in the time. Like, look, and I remember telling this to Josh actually. there are times where I got really, really frustrated. And some of it did come from these levels. Some of these areas are too open, and I'm just like grappling hooking around, and I don't know where I'm supposed to be going.
Yeah, sure.
That was an issue. Some of the bosses took me a little longer than I would have liked, because I've beaten Dark Souls 1. Dark Souls 2 didn't interest me at all, and I did a chunk of Dark Souls 3 until I fucked up the ending I was going for, and then I would have to start the entire game over again if I wanted to get it. So I said, I'm not doing this right now. Bloodborne, I played through twice. I fucking love Bloodborne. There were certain instances here where I would get into a rut where I'd feel like, okay, that move was bullshit, or this. Sometimes there are enemies who take a little bit too much damage. But on the whole, if you're willing to sometimes pound your head against the wall...
if you're willing to go through the stressors of playing a From Software Souls-like game.
I mean, there's...
Because for all that anger that got pent up fighting Lady Butterfly early on, probably earlier than I was supposed to, actually, once I beat her, that elation... it's like in any From Software game.
Yeah.
Once you finally do overcome it, you feel it feels so earned.
You feel the accomplishment,
Yeah. The pride and accomplishment. I can either get it from doing that, or I can go open a loot box. Hey,
or with Elder Scrolls Blade, you can just wait for a while until the loot box.
You can just wait.
Hashtag rolling on blades.
So that's a great segue, Josh. That's good.
Hashtag my arteries.
I did kind of want to. We can kind of dive into Bethesda a little bit since we we said some good things. Now we can kind of say some bad things because as some of y'all, if any real consistent listener will know that our opinions on Bethesda have been
degrading,
somewhat wavered.
For those real stooge heads out there,
stooge heads is that what we're calling them?
I don't know.
They've polarized. I think is a good word. When Fallout 76 was announced, Josh Grady and myself were very excited. Chris was immediately
skeptical,
pessimistic, and sort of suspicious of the whole thing.
Dragged that thing.
To his credit, he was right.
Just for a recap, the reason why was this: one, I don't believe Todd when he comes out and says 16 times the detail. I was like, bullshit, you're lying. Two, the idea of an RPG like that without NPCs, I was like, that can't work. That's not going to work. And I don't think I've seen their engine do anything that can convince me that this is going to work. Sure. I'm not going to say.
You definitely ended up. You definitely ended up being right. Yeah. This year we didn't get to see anything from Elder Scrolls 6.
We saw the one trailer. Oh no, that was last year.
That was last year. Or Starfield.
Yeah.
Starfield. We saw nothing from.
We didn't.
They showed the title or something.
We saw nothing from Starfield or Elder Scrolls 6 this
year.
year. Let's see, what did we get from Bethesda? We got more Doom. We saw more Doom, which is
and
great.
The thing is, that is a Bethesda published game. It is an id Software game. That was the one thing they showed. That was like, oh, give it to me, fucking no, because.
Well, Deathloop was Bethesda, wasn't it?
Was that Bethesda?
It's not published, but it's published Bethesda. I think Ghostwire.
Oh,
and
well, yeah. Because
the
the developers of Prey belong to Bethesda. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Right. Yeah.
Didn't
which is.
But we saw no gameplay, so we have no fucking clue.
Right. Of course, no gameplay.
But the whole point.
They showed some more ESO.
Mm-hmm, yeah, we got Elder Scrolls stuff. Which I will say this. I wish I could get into Elder Scrolls Online a little bit more because it does seem like they're being so lore friendly, and that if you really could get yourself involved into Elder Scrolls Online, that there's so much neat stuff in that game. But God, I don't want to play an MMO.
Is it lore friendly? I've lore friendly. Is it lore friendly? I've heard the opposite. I've heard that because the guy who's running the story side of things at Bethesda right now has already been like, I'm not going to focus on this stuff from 20 years ago because it's too much. I'm like, but now it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. I just mean, I guess lore friendly might not be the right phrase. Just kind of they're doing, DLC and Elsewhere and Morrowind and all this shit. So
Lord friendly.
You get to revisit places that, Elder Scrolls fans really have.
Yeah, they're doing Elsewhere and Dragons now, I think. That's the that's
haven't had a chance to relive in a modern way in a while. I've been playing Morrowind, but I've modded the shit out of it. And it's God, I really wish that we could have some updated way to experience Morrowind.
I picked up Morrowind on the Xbox One last year, and after a while I was like, oh, that's right. You basically have to take notes to play this. I'm so not
there's no quest markers. There's nothing. Nope. Yeah.
You're actually the dude doing the quest. You have to take your own notes.
which I appreciate to an extent, but I'm very busy nowadays.
Yeah,
like,
I don't have time to like spend 3 hours to do one quest. Yeah. But you know, with kind of the Blades was what the hell? What even is that?
It's a mobile game, Steven.
Jesus.
So we're looking at two major issues in terms of Bethesda when you look at Blades and you look at Fallout 76. And with Fallout 76, it was very much them putting out a game that was not ready, that they knew wouldn't be ready. In an interview with Todd Howard, he was like, yeah, we knew it was going to be shit when it came out. Like, that's basically what he said.
Paraphrase.
And, yeah, paraphrase for sure. But, you know, that idea is disgusting.
Paraphrased. Yeah, we knew it was going to be shit when it came out.
Yeah,
but,
like, we knew it was going to be shit, but we released it anyway, but we're going to make it better. What's funny is, from what I've heard, it has slowly gotten better, but the store has done their Atomic Shop, which they really want you to shop in, has gotten really, really bad. And at one point, they were selling items, with a discount, but they found out that, wait a minute, when those items went live, they never went full price. They were at that discount. And they found out that those items were not actually being discounted. That was their real price, but they were being advertised as discounted, which in a lot of countries is illegal. So they had to go back and fix that. And then eventually they announced at this one, because, and this is what annoyed me with this E3 at Bethesda, was Todd Howard gets to come out there and go, yeah, we fucked up a lot. Isn't that cute? And everyone just goes, yeah, that's hilarious.
Well, yeah, they had a bunch of paid clappers at this E3.
And it
really at their particular.
But what's funny is there are people who were like, okay, well, now they're going to add NPCs, they're going to make all these new changes and add Battle Royale, and it's going to become a better game. Oh, and secondly, immediately once they put in that first new patch, it added in a bunch of new old bugs that they had already patched out of it. So now it's more broken, incredible. And I haven't heard of any fixes since. Meanwhile, you have Elder Scrolls Blades. The thing that pisses me off about that is this is another Todd Howard lie, where he comes out and says, this is going to be the standard Elder Scrolls experience, except you're going to have it on mobile. But no, because my standard Elder Scrolls experience doesn't make me go into a cavern, find a box, and then say, you can either wait an hour or pay $2 to open this now. So, like, it's just everything that's been coming out of this man's mouth has been a lie. And, I was skeptical. Y'all were excited. I was skeptical at their conference last year. And I already wasn't happy because Fallout 4 is not a game I particularly enjoy. But I said, okay, I think this engine's overdone, and I think their quest system's getting overdone. I will always say that I think the Oblivion quests were phenomenal because of how interesting they were. But then they got dumbed down in Skyrim, and now you have these Radiant quests, so you can never fully finish with a guild. You're always going to have something. And then Fallout 4 made it worse with, this new area needs your help. Why don't you go help them? This new settlement. And it just...
Yeah, I neglected
nothing has any sort of definitive end to it. And so I was already skeptical going in, but now we've seen what they did with their latest properties and these newer games, and then they just come in and kind of double down on it later. And all the games I'm excited about coming from Bethesda are just games that they publish. They're not games that they make. It's all id Software.
Yep.
And
I mean, it's...
And we can talk about Rage 2 as well, because I played Rage 2.
Right, yeah. Is Rage 2 created by Bethesda?
It's published by Bethesda. So. Remember? Because that was one of our favorite things about Bethesda's conference 2018 was Magnus Nedfors, who...
Yes.
Well, yeah,
we denounced him as our lord.
Yeah,
I think we did at one point. Right. He was our king, and then we said no.
It's developed by Avalanche Studios in conjunction with id Software.
He was a pretender. It's kind of like
he was a pretender to the throne?
Yeah, and like Russian history where they have like three guys try to be the fake Ivan or something like that for a while. Like, that was Magnus Nedfors.
Yeah. I will say this. Rage 2 has some amazing shooting mechanics, but if you're looking for a main quest line, it's about 8 missions. I'm not even kidding.
Jeez. Is there a lot to do in the world?
There's a moderate amount. No, there's a good deal of side quests, but there's it's one of those it's not a Ubisoft game, but it's a Ubisoft variation where it's like, there are 5 kinds of quests, and we put 15 of them all around the map. It's kind of like that.
I have a question on...
But the shooting
go collect this thing. Go unlock this tower. Go do that.
Yeah, basically. What was your question, Grady?
Yeah, go free this area. Or whatever.
Yeah.
So in relation to comparing, something like that with something to what you were kind of casting negatively or that has negative aspects in like the Skyrim or that style of or Fallout 4 Radiant Quest.
Radiant Quest.
So
yes.
you end up with either a game that you have very limited mission amounts, or you have the kind of more endless Radiant
You end
Quests.
up with cookie cutter style Radiant Quest. You mean?
Yeah, those seem to be to me your kind of only two options, right? Like you can't really build 10 million quests into the game.
Well, we've seen games like Oblivion that didn't have either one of those.
They have a lot of quests, but eventually you would run out.
Yes, but then you have like a sort of definitive end to your journey. I think I don't know if I mentioned this on cast before, but I think if I have, I apologize. But I remember one of my favorite things about Elder Scrolls Oblivion was, and I have issues. Don't get me wrong, I have issues with Oblivion too, and primarily my issue with Oblivion. Other than the voice acting being like 5 people.
And the faces.
But at the time, we didn't think too much about that. But and obviously I can also go into the fact that, look at this empire, and look at this major city in this empire that has 18 people living in it. Stuff
but
like that.
600,000 watermelons.
But the thing about Oblivion is, with definitive quest amounts, it almost lets me bring in like a definitive end to my character. And what I was getting at was, I remember, so I bought the Oblivion guide. I bought the strategy guide when I got it, because I was big on collecting those kinds of things back then. And I remember literally going through the entire strategy guide and taking a pencil and putting a check mark to every single quest I did, because I wanted to do every single thing. And I go through all the guild quests, all of that, and then I start doing the quests that aren't related to guilds or the main quest or anything like that. They're just quests that you find out. They're called miscellaneous.
Yeah.
I finally got to the last one. I was like, what haven't I done? And it was a quest where a guy literally just asks you to dive in the river next to his house and collect this many fish tanks. And so this hero,
I did that early. Okay.
This character, this hero of mine is now, he was the hero of Kvatch. He's now the hero of Cyrodiil. He runs every single guild. He's done everything under the sun. He's a huge level. Like I literally, I want my acrobatics up, so I literally just ran
across the water
all around the white city.
Jump. You stand under something that like doesn't make you jump all the way up, so you can just go
and all of a sudden,
and jump 1,000 times.
Exactly. So now the hero is like walking along. He's old. He's grizzled. He's done everything. He's saved the empire, and this one guy is like, "Sir, can you help me with this?" And I dive down, I get him his scales, and literally when I finished it and I handed it over, it was dusk. And I sat on this bench and I watched the sunset. I saved my game
on
one
your
last
childhood.
time. And that was that character's end. And it felt good knowing that I had 100% done everything it was for that character to do.
See, and I like that, because I build narratives around my characters as well, which is which is some of the frustrating parts about some of the Elder Scrolls stuff, because it can be so immersive in a lot of ways, and there are some stupid things that break the immersion. Like, even though you are the like leader of every single guild in the world, a guard can still go like up to you and be like, talk to you like you're a stranger. You're like, bitch, I own you. But anyway,
I literally saved this town. I will pick up whatever I want to pick up. Bitch.
Someone stole your sweet. Yeah, like literally, I'm in with the jarl of your town. Like,
I'm your boss. I sign your paychecks, bitch.
Anyway, I am the government.
Yeah, no funny business.
No funny business. You hear?
But a lot of those repeatable quests, like in Skyrim. I mean, once you get to that point, you're done. You use them to like get experience and money and shit like that. I mean, once they're done, they're done. You don't have to keep doing them. Like once you finished all the quests that aren't repeatable, then
one
you're
thing
done.
I wish would happen with the Thieves Guild quest in Skyrim is that as you do those Radiant quests, your like guild bank actually fills back up.
That's true. Yeah.
And your guild starts to look like dope.
I would be okay with the Radiant quest if I saw like actual, even something that small. That.
Or they escalated, because it's like, oh yes, do you mind clearing out this cave of rats? I'm like, I'm the fucking guild leader. Why are you asking me to do that? We should have people on staff to do that shit.
Well, and I'm just with the Thieves Guild. It was just like go do thieving missions, but I just wanted to see like some other than just like the money I get for it. Like, actually build the guild back up. That particular quest line. It's very,
the reason I
Specific.
did this in Skyrim, because the thing I liked in Oblivion was before you could unlock like the next main quest in the Thieves Guild, you had to go like steal a bunch of shit.
Yeah,
and
they had
fence it.
fencing.
I know they had fencing.
You had
but
to
did
fence
you have
a
to
certain
do it
amount of
before
money.
the next quest unlocked? Yeah, I don't remember.
Well, you get to take missions from so and so, and then you like fence enough, and then it's like, cool. Well, now you can fence to so and so.
I have fenced enough.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's kind of the same mechanic.
Yep.
But-
I mean, I always loved, in Oblivion that like the way to get the Dark Brotherhood was you had to kill
Right.
someone, you had to murder someone, and then they
And
send
then
you
they're
this
like, oh,
letter
you killed somebody.
that's got that black hand, and it just says, "We
can be
know."
with
I
us.
love that.
Yeah.
I love that so much.
Which, of course, I'm sure all of us got like after our first day of adventuring.
I didn't, but I do remember getting vampire.
I was a vampire in Oblivion for the
Yeah,
longest
it
time.
starts detailing your dreams.
Skyrim.
I had that one character. My main wasn't a vampire though.
My main Skyrim character was a Khajiit vampire. Dude, Skyrim, we're digressing, but
Yeah.
this is just kind of our video game cast. Skyrim's fucking stealth was so
Yeah,
broken.
man. There are memes about how broken it was. Like, you played
It's
through
so
Skyrim and you
broken.
weren't a stealth archer? What the fuck's wrong with you?
I remember watching a video the other day where they were talking about the most useless shouts and how one of them was throwing your voice because they were like, I can throw my voice over here to make them go over there. But because I use the shout, everyone turns around and looks at me and just goes, who's there? Like immediately gets on top of me.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I mean, I got to the point in that game because I was a Khajiit who was like focused in stealth. I got to the point in that game I could sneak up on fucking dragons and one hit them. It's dumb. It's dumb.
You have dragon.
It's very stealthy.
Dagger. But anyway, no, I think we're seeing a major issue with Bethesda developed games. I think they're just not what they need to be.
Well, it's going to be interesting. I think right now we're in the we are fully in the category of cynical when it comes to Bethesda created games.
Well, not even just creative games. Like, look at what happened the other day. So, I was super looking forward to downloading Dooms 1, 2, and 3.
Oh, Doom.
Doom 1, 2, and 3 on my Switch, because that sounds like an amazing thing to play, like to have on a mobile Switch console, like 1 and 3, 1, 2, and 3. And I actually bought an SD card, so I could just put them on that, because I'm tired of deleting games off my Switch. The hard drives on those suckers are too small. And the thing is, all of the Doom games, for Doom 1 and 2, you have to log into the Bethesda account. And then on Doom 3, you have to do it every single time you play it. Which completely...
But didn't they come out and say that was a mistake?
No, I'm going to
and
get to
they're
that.
gonna fix it?
But what I'm saying is,
Okay.
with Doom 1 and 2, that's obnoxious because I don't want to make a Bethesda account for you just to sign into this.
You should already have one because of hashtag Rolling on Blades.
I think I had one
Yeah,
for
man, come on.
I think I had one for Dishonored. But after that, like with Doom 3, that renders the whole thing completely pointless. If I want to take Doom 3 on the road, I have to log into the internet before I can play it. So what is the point of this?
Why don't you just use your data?
I don't want to.
Everybody loves logging into things.
Peasant.
It turns out that it was an accident, and that it was supposed to be an optional thing if you wanted to log in for the Slayers Club thing, and then
Slayers Club.
and then get rewards for something else. But it's just little mistakes that they keep.
Yeah, it just
making.
seems like
And
poor management or hiring
it's poor
process or
decision
something.
making.
You're asleep at the
Oversight.
wheel.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, Grady. I like that. Like, it's just consistently little things that they keep screwing up, and then they go, okay, we fix this, but then immediately after that, and I mean, even with Fallout 76, their collector's edition. Well, this isn't the bag that was promised in the collector's edition. Well, we didn't have enough material, so that's what we made. But that's illegal. You literally promised a product and then sold it to us and then gave us something else.
But Chris, now there's a battle royale. Aren't you happy?
See this? I don't know this.
No. They were trying to do that. They were trying to say, okay, well, we can't give you the bag, but we can give you 500 atoms to spend in our in-game store, which is less money than it is required to buy the mailman outfit, which is the only outfit that has a canvas bag.
Nice.
So,
hilarious.
like, they eventually did give the bags, but, like, the amount of teeth pulling you have to do with them to get them to fix their mistakes now is just absurd.
This makes me.
Yeah,
I don't know. The comparison that comes to mind for me is, it's like if you took EA, but they had to actually bother to apologize to people.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot.
Because, like, EA will be like, they'll just say, hey, now we have a brand new mechanic in Ultimate Team, and we know you're going to drop thousands of dollars in our FIFA Ultimate store and Madden store, whatever the fuck, you're going to do it. so we don't care. I mean, they don't bother to apologize for that.
Granted, the best part of that is like Bethesda, like even if they're shitty, they try to do something, even if it fucks things up. Whereas EA will go straight-faced in front of the UK Parliament and say, well, we don't like calling them loot boxes. We like calling them surprise mechanics.
They'll tell you it's a sense of pride and accomplishment in the Reddit.
Legal gambling.
People are getting... Oh, and then after that ruling where the UK was like, well, based on our current laws, we can't really call this gambling yet. And immediately after that, 2K said, oh, that casino we were talking about and fucking... Grand Theft Auto 5, we're going to launch that now. So now people can spend real money to make fake money to then gamble in our fake casino. What is happening? What is happening?
I was trying to read the Wikipedia article to see if there had been any like major like management changes or, you know, anything in Bethesda, but I think they've just kind of gotten bad. Like I don't see anything since like late 2000s, early 2010s, like that has happened really with them. They just kind of started fucking up. Yeah.
And that's what I was going to, that's kind of where I was. Elder Scrolls 6 and
you're speaking
Starfield.
Of the beat, like I'm expecting this to, like, when's the beat going to drop? Elder Scrolls
6. But those are going to be pretty instrumental
if they're going to continue to be a game.
Regaining our trust. Yeah, I mean, because as of right now, it wouldn't shock me for Elder Scrolls 6 to launch and suck and be, kind of along the same lines as Fallout 4, where like the rest of us are kind of thinking like, it's fine.
Like
it's
the glitches,
whatever,
we need to see what
glitches are one thing.
Like, first.
Like we expect those and they're funny, but like game breaking type stuff and just general quality,
or just being a bad game.
We need to look at what Starfield looks like before we can begin to think about Elder Scrolls.
Yeah, it's supposedly releasing beforehand, right?
It is, yeah.
It's kind of on topic in that we have been reminiscing and we are talking about a glitch. You remember the multiply items glitch in Oblivion?
Yeah, that's the watermelon comment.
Josh hinted at that with the watermelons. Yeah.
Let's roll a bunch of cheese down a hill.
I eat all the
and I'm
cheese.
fine with the dragon helicoptering off the top of a mountain after I kill it. That's it's hilarious. It's fine. It's a little bit immersion breaking, but as long as the rest of the game is pretty good, then I could deal with that.
In terms of other things to get upset about, things we were excited about from these companies that we trusted for a while, from E3 2018 and to now is Anthem.
Ooh,
BioWare, man. And, it sucks, but most of what made BioWare great, a lot of those people left a long time ago. And I think we didn't want to really believe that, or at the very least, we wanted to say, well, it's BioWare. They're obviously going to get equally competent people to come in and take their place.
And that's the stage we're at almost with Bethesda, right? We're like, come on.
Yeah.
Bethesda. Next game, they'll turn it around.
They'll turn it around, but we don't know that at this point.
An abusive relationship.
Because one of the
we didn't hear anything about Dragon Age 4.
I love that, Grady. That's a very apt description of our relationship with Bethesda.
Yeah, those are the big two. Because BioWare turned around when they made the ending to, I didn't play the DLC to Mass Effect 3 because I was too upset. I remember, Grady, you said you did and you were happy with how it ended after you played the DLC. You said you were semi-happier.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I was more pleased. Mm-hmm.
But at the very, even if I was like, okay, I've read about how it kind of ends, I'm not entirely thrilled because there's a lot of issues I have with it overall, but at least they made the effort to try to fix it. Then what we had after that was we had Mass Effect Andromeda, which is written poorly, it's designed poorly. Some of the combat's fun, I will give it that.
Some of the combat's fun. Some of the
environments are gorgeous.
The sense of
scale.
The sense of scale, the sense of colonizing. I thought that was fun.
I liked that
setting
too.
up your base, and then you show up, and people will be like, "Hey, we're working out this stupid little."
I like
problem.
that. Yeah,
and you're oh, cool! You got a space base. I started it.
You felt more on the ground. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I will agree with you. I don't think the characters are written anywhere near as well as they were in the original trilogy. Steve and you and I have a phrase for this. It felt too Joss Whedon-y. Everyone's just a little too clever, Everyone's just a little too sarcastic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Too much snark.
It's too goofy.
Everyone is
Snarky.
snarky. How is everyone so
Literally
snarky?
every conversation.
Every conversation is snarky.
ended with something that was just like, everyone would have a snark to end every conversation. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but
No,
He would say a
everyone who
snark at the end.
yeah, he would just snark.
Snork. Or, but like, it was that issue. It's just, it felt too uniform in the writing. And we never really got a feeling for who these characters were. And now we're never going to because they've canceled that line. So like, okay, so BioWare had its first misstep. Let's see what it does with Anthem. And it turns out that trailer
Which
we
looked
got...
so incredible.
It turns out the trailer we got, even before 2018, I think there was an E3 before that, yeah. Where we had a trailer. That was fake. It was completely fake. And there were BioWare employees watching that as it happened. And they said, so this is the game we're making?
Confused.
They had no clue. They literally spent like
Is that what we're doing?
5 years just having bullshit meetings and not getting anything done. And not knowing what they were doing. Yeah. Flight was put in and taken out and put in and taken out and then put in.
Wait, but they were trying to produce a game, or were they not making any progress?
They were making it, but they couldn't come to a conclusion on what kind of game they wanted to make. So somebody would say, I like this mechanic, leave it in. And somebody else would come back later and go, I don't like that, take it out. And then they would do it.
And you know what? I think that led to a lot. I mean, obviously, it seems like it would. But I think one of the biggest issues that I had with Anthem...
Because you played the beta, right? That's what you played the beta?
No, I played... I got it.
Oh.
I played the... I didn't buy it.
Origin.
Origin did a thing that if you were like an Origin Plus member or whatever, their premium subscription, then you got Anthem for free. So I did that I did like the free trial, and I think I bought a month of their service and had Anthem.
So you've had more experience than when any of us by far, then, because mine is 0.
I mean, man, it feels so fucking cool to fly around in those javelins. It's awesome. I mean, it's like it controls really well. It fills in the blanks of flying a suit very well for you, so you feel like a badass and you can do badass things. Mm-hmm. But my computer is more than capable of running a game like Anthem, and was unable to do so, which was problem number one. Yeah. And I think that has a lot to do with that. Add this, don't add this, add this, take this out, add this, take this out, add this, take this out. It just was not...
If they're continuously adding and subtracting, right?
Right.
That's got to be inelegant code completely. That's one of the...
Yeah. It wasn't, what's the word, optimized. Mm-hmm. Like, nothing was really optimized for the game. And I just didn't care. Like, you never really got the sense that you were, like, doing something meaningful.
You weren't
or,
the chosen one or whatever, like, destiny.
Not even that. It just... Yeah, you just like, I mean, I probably didn't play enough for it to like super matter. I got like my next like customized javelin or whatever. Like you get to a point in the game where you get to pick your own. I did a little bit of the multiplayer, and that's fine. It's very Destiny-like. Sure. I mean, it's fine. It's just boring. I think.
But what about all the dynamic weather?
They did. Well, now the dynamic weather is, you wanted this DLC that added these new things to it. It's actually just a blue filter and a time limit, and that's it. Like, that was their roadmap. They released a roadmap. We're going to have this DLC to fix some of these issues and provide more content, and they didn't. And now the roadmap's been completely scrapped. We haven't heard a peep out of them since they scrapped that. We've heard nothing. Yeah. I'd say it's probably dead at this point.
I'm sure there's people still out there who play it, and there's probably lots of people who enjoy it. And had I had a better experience from the beginning, after they did some optimization patches, I might have continued to play it and enjoyed it more.
It's a cool concept for sure, but
it was just a letdolike for how hyped I was.
Nothing to do
and how hyped the game was.
I've got two questions, I guess. One, is there any sort of like monetization thing in there, like micro purchases, anything?
Yes,
there are.
Oh, I'm sure there are.
Grady, is there a game that doesn't have that?
I would just say, like, if there weren't, then yes, it is 100 million% dead. If it exists, they might try to patch it up to keep that alive.
Surely you can buy skins.
I think you could buy like skins and
and then the other was just like the reason you didn't care. Like, was that just story? Like, it wasn't.
Was the story poorly written or? Like, as far as the story goes,
the world, so the world, like the concept of everything was really, really cool. Mm-hmm. There's this idea of like this I think they called it the voice or something, or the song.
The song, I remember that.
The Traveler?
Some sort of.
Oh wait, that's Destiny.
That's Destiny.
Yeah.
And so there were lots of things that were really, really intriguing. And so you were kind of like, these javelins, like the people, I don't remember what they called their organization.
The Goonies.
They had essentially like collapsed and had like all died in this one big rift. And that's kind of the thing, is like there are these rifts and like the shit comes out and there's monsters and all this kind of stuff. And so
with the story, Steven mentioned that there are compelling elements, but the problem is that they had this idea of what it was going to be, but there were issues with it, so they kept changing it. So there were things that they wanted.
So they changed the narrative to fit what they could fix.
Yeah.
Is what you're saying?
No, literally, no. Anthem was not their first choice for the name of the game. It was something else, but they couldn't use it. So they said, okay, fine, call it this background noise. Now build the narrative around the phrase anthem. What does anthem have to do with this? So they had to struggle to come up with a narrative for the word anthem to make sense.
See, honestly, and that's
Start
probably
with
the
a
most
name and
compelling
work
part
backwards.
of the story.
Yes.
is the concept of the song and of the anthem.
But that was all added in later to make it make sense. It was rushed.
Which
it was all rushed.
Is amusing, because that is probably the most compelling part of what I played, was the anthem.
So the base concept is all they had. And then they just built a game around it.
But yeah, I just felt disconnected. Like, it's like you played through a lot. I never really cared about any of the characters. There was never a character that I was really like invested in.
Did Nathan Fillion voice act anyone?
Not Nathan. You mean Nathan Drake?
Troy Baker.
I don't know.
We can do two. We can do two.
What about Peter
We can
Dinklage?
do Troy Baker, or we can do the guy who voices Nathan Drake.
Was Peter Dinklage a little robot that flew around you?
Nolan North? That's the voice actor. Nolan North.
I don't know. It's probably dead. BioWare, we'll see.
Yeah, so
what
like
can do.
BioWare kind of died when those guys left, I guess. Like, you guys probably have a little more background info on BioWare. I've been kind of scrolling through the Wikipedia article, but apparently, like, early 2010s, those two guys that were co-founders for BioWare left, and that's kind of... Do we think that had a lot to do with how they've kind of imploded?
Yeah. That's what Chris mentioned at the beginning. Yeah, it's like, we kind of all thought, like, it'll still be fine. It's BioWare. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine.
I was referring to, apparently, Ray Musica and Greg Zuschek.
Yeah, those guys left a long time ago.
Well, that's what I was, like back. Oh. And, like, they haven't really, BioWare hasn't come out with anything just awesome since then, right? I mean.
No.
Dragon Age, Inquisition.
Then they're gonna
I think that was after.
Wait, who?
I think they left after that.
I know they said people were going to try to do Baldur's Gate, but it's not
Baldur's
them doing
Gate
it, right?
3.
Like, it's somebody else doing Baldur's Gate 3? Because BioWare did Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, right? Or am I mistaken?
They did, I believe, have a hand in some of the Baldur's Gate, yes.
I'm pretty sure that they're doing Baldur's
Yeah,
Gate.
no, it was announced at E3 this year, Baldur's Gate 3 was, wasn't it?
Yeah. They're trying to base it off D&D 5e.
Which, it could be good.
What?
I mean, depending on, if they stay
edition.
true to the story, it's not hard to come up with a Baldur's Gate game as far as gameplay, I wouldn't think.
It might have been years. Yeah, no, Black Isle's developing it. It's not BioWare.
And there's no reason, like, a lot of the Jade Empire and the KOTOR games and stuff.
I need to play that. I have it on my Xbox One. I have Jade Empire.
It's great.
It's great?
Yes.
I'll go
good.
start it
It's
soon
very
then.
It's
very good.
Yeah, but one of the things that people point out is that they recycle a lot of the quests, basically.
Yeah.
Between the games, but they reskin them to and
Fit
and
the lore and the culture of what they're in. Yeah. Because there's a big difference between space magicians and ancient Chinese warriors.
Yeah, and it's I don't know. I think that games nowadays could benefit from
Someone call Bob Lazar.
That's what they'll find come September 20th. Just wait. They'll find that they're actually the same thing.
That Netflix documentary.
Ancient Aliens.
Yeah.
No, but like I think some of these games that struggle with like Anthem with like, okay, what are you going to do in it? Like, why don't they just go dig through kind of those older content and kind of reskin some of that, repurpose some of that stuff for it? That could be compelling.
And I mean that's a great point because Nintendo does that.
Oh God, do they do that?
And you can do it well. That was the way that video games were, made for a long time was, if you had a game and it was good enough to make a sequel or to make an additional game, a lot of times you were going to use that same engine. You were going to reuse as many resources as you could because making games is expensive.
It's expensive,
nowadays.
It's time consuming, and on your, typically they have a limited amount of space. So you need to be the most economical you can be with what you have.
And those are classic, quests and stuff because people, and that's why, GMs and stuff in tabletop games still reuse tropes from that is because they, appeal to people.
They work.
Yeah.
Right. And it's already been done. It works. You're going to reuse it. You just got to reskin it. But I think there's like so much money that's pumped into these games these days that everyone wants to try to be like this like super innovative thing. Mm-hmm. And maybe somewhere along the way, like these visionaries lose their way. Maybe
not everybody can have Keanu Reeves in their video game.
They end up. What if we do a red, blue, and green ending?
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to say where some of it breaks down, but it does feel like some of these big high money, big money games that have failed. The one thing that Chris and I have always said, like even back in the O&E days, is like the one thing that you can always say like makes a game great, and like the one thing you always feel from a game that is really, really good is if you can tell just by playing the game that the people who made it loved it.
Yeah.
It's just like any form of art,
entertainment, or any sort of art.
If there's love behind it, you can feel it come through.
That's one of the problems I have with modern day Hollywood is, I get excited about the movies made by the few remaining guys who are like, I'm not going to look at this as a money-making thing. I'm going to look at this as an artistic project that I care about and I want to put my vision on it.
Yeah, put your soul into it.
It's why I I still get excited for Christopher Nolan films. I still get excited for Quentin Tarantino films. It's because when they make a movie, it's what they want to fucking make.
Yeah,
you
can
isn't
feel
a studio behind them saying, no, this needs to appeal to this audience too. So throw in this element as well. Do you mind? Do you mind doing that?
Exactly.
Thank you. You got to make billions of dollars in China. Can you do that too?
Exactly.
Like, no, I want I want a director with an artistic vision that is true to what he wants to make. Yeah, it's the same with video games.
Well, and I speaking of Nintendo doing a really good job at kind of like reutilizing things and making.
And Nintendo makes the games that Nintendo wants to fucking make.
Right, and in the sort of pseudo vein of Nintendo, I was, Chris and I recently played Cadence of Hyrule, made by the guys who did Crypt of the Necrodancer, and I think that game is a perfect example of developers who, they probably didn't, and they probably made some money from that game, but I'm willing to bet that they had to, but Nintendo probably made most of the profits that come from that game. But I think that even if that is the case, that game, and I said this, and it was kind of an intended pun, that game is such a love story to Zelda, specifically to Link to the Past, and a lot of modern stuff, honestly. It's such a love story to the Zelda franchise, and you can just feel it. Like, there's so many small little details that are just, like, so true to it. The Arkham game, Arkham City, that's another one of those games. It's, like, all those little details, you can just, like, feel the people who made these games, they just really loved it. They really, like, were invested in the world, and they wanted to evoke that same sort of love in the person who was playing the game.
It's the difference between we were told to do this, oh, we should do this, or, oh man, what if we did this? It's like the different...
Exactly, yeah.
This last flash sale or whatever on PS4 had all the Arkham games, and I was like, I played some of them in the past, but I was like, I need to play through all of them, and I've fucking enjoyed the hell out of playing through those games.
They're great. And Grady, you had a point you wanted to
make.
I was going to just kind of, to the listener who's out there who's like, I also like the endless sequels
microtransactions
and shit that are in...
microtransactions. I like the microtransactions.
Not the microtransactions.
I like
like sequel movies or like superhero movies or anything that's like kind of derivative of something that's already out there.
Yeah.
And it kind of ties into what you're saying with kind of an homage versus a...
regurgitation.
Remember this, versus
like a shameless reference?
Yeah, shameless reference versus like a more reverent treatment of the forebears is that, I think video games do that too. And there's nothing really, I don't think, wrong with enjoying a game that is just kind of calling back to stuff and it's like, oh, this is nostalgic, whatever. Or a movie that is just like, like a remake or something, like all the live action.
We're in the age of that. Yeah,
that seems like a cash cow though.
While there
doesn't seem to be any love behind those.
I think that they are definitely doing the cash motivation, but I think that there may be, the way that I've seen it presented anyway, it looks like, at least they were very familiar with it.
I think from a corporate perspective, it's a cynical cash cow.
Sure,
but I think from the people, maybe not even the directors, But I will say that the actors and the people doing the animations, like the animators and the actors, I say they have passion for that. But anyway, we can get off on the cynical train for a second and talk about the good things that have happened since E3 2018.
Right, so along the lines of, like, I don't know, remaking ideas, I don't know. It brought to my mind Mega Man 11. Like, the idea behind Mega Man has not changed in, 30 years. It's still Mega Man. The concept is
like
the same.
A man,
the
but he's
concept will
Mega.
never change. But fucking Mega Man 11 is so much fun, and I think they did some really neat things to bring it to a broader audience, and I love it. What do you think of Mega Man 11, Chris?
So one of the things, and Grady and I had a little aside, one of the things I did want to talk about was Capcom's turnaround. They were in a situation where it was like, okay, I think the last thing I remember was Resident Evil 6. I just went, just stop. And they were doing a lot of practices that I didn't really agree with. And they still do to an extent. I remember Devil May Cry 5, like, they made it really grindy, but you could buy the currency.
Sure.
That pissed me off, but, like, Mega Man 11, I mean, it's a Mega Man game. And it's a good Mega Man game. It's a fantastic one. It's certainly better than Mighty Number 9.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, way better.
I liked it a lot. And I think that not only that, I mean, since we've had Devil May Cry 5, which, like I said, I didn't like the microtransactions. Sure. But I also wasn't a huge, but I also thought as an action game was fantastic. It's great to see, because Devil May Cry 4, I've played a bit of it. And, like, that game is lazy. I know there are people who like Nero. But, like, okay, you play as Nero.
Oh, it's derivative. It's completely derivative. The point of that game was not anything having to do with the story. It was kill demons.
Kill demons.
In cool ways.
But not only that, but it was like, okay, so you play as Nero here, and then you do the same level backwards as Dante later. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
No, this game is 100% original. Like, you not only do you play as, Nero again, but you have great, fantastic Dante levels. You have this new character called V, which I won't spoil. If you care about
for Vendetta,
V for V. I was about to give the name away. But you have that. They all have incredibly different play styles, and they were all like matched up perfectly. They all had different ways to do things, and they were all fun to play as. You had Mega Man 11, like Steven said, and then I think, in my opinion, the big one was Resident Evil 2 Remake, which, motherfucker, that game I've played about 5 times.
It's wild how much.
It's
like, that's a great.
so
That's another one of those. That was kind of the segue I so professionally set up, and now that I've mentioned it, have taken away all the luster.
We can remove it in editing.
Just cut all of that out.
Is such a good job at making a game that was already good and already great and already loved by everyone, and just making it beautiful again.
And they added new things to it. They added new unlockables to it. Like, it's what a remake should be. Like, if we're gonna rebuild this game from the ground up, it shouldn't just be a graphical overhaul. It should fix
as a zombie Josh.
The old game.
As a Josh, I think it's great.
But
wait, did you say?
No, I just think it's great.
Okay.
No, I really would like to play it. I hadn't had a chance to pick it up yet.
Well, we were talking about all getting together in September, and I would for sure love y'all to see it. Like, what I thought was fantastic about it was, and I was talking about this with Steven the other day, is what I consider to be one of, not the, but one of the main components of what makes a good Resident Evil game is you give me a map and a set of goals that need to be accomplished in a certain order. Maybe there are certain goals that need to be accomplished. You can do them in any order you want. I can go get this key now or this one later, whatever. But you give me a big map, but once I learn it, I can speed through it. And I think that's one of the things that's great about 1, 2, 3, not necessarily 4 or 5 or 6, especially 5 or 6. But a lot of these classic, 6 is just bad. Don't play it. But like a lot
5
of what
has
makes
RPGs.
They do, and punching boulders into pieces. Jesus. But I think one of the things I loved about it when they brought 7 in was once you learn how to play 7 and you figure it out, you can speed through that game. I beat it in under 4 hours, and there's actually an item you can get that's a secret, a special weapon if you beat it in under 4 hours.
Is it a lightsaber?
No.
It's a lightsaber, isn't it?
But, no, they would have to license that out.
It's a double-bladed lightsaber.
It's a double-bladed dildo. But the remake of 2, and obviously there's the old 2, but there's other things included in it. And I just love that modern Resi thing of just... And what they're doing with it now, where they're going back to the old style and remaking it or making new games where, okay, I'm going to play through it here and this is going to be scary, but once I figure out how this game works, I can challenge myself to get it done as quickly as possible. I love that about these new games. And the rumor has it they're going to do the same remake, not remaster, but the same remake thing that they did for 2 for 3. And I cannot wait. Awesome. Cannot fucking wait.
That would be sweet. Yeah.
So far this year, Resident Evil 2 is one of my favorite games. Along with Sekiro, I every now and then I think about picking it up again, but I'm really busy. I have the new Judgment game, which is in the Yakuza series. I have Bloodstained, the guy who made Castlevania, his game. I've got a lot on my plate right now, but those are the 2 games right now that I just... Capcom is killing it. Capcom is killing it.
They have hacked that formula of, how can we reuse ideas but make them
expand on them or
worth
what have you.
Yeah, but making them not just derivative and reused, but actually expand on them. It's great. Mega Man 11 is awesome. If you've never played a Mega Man game, but you've always been interested, and or maybe you've picked up Mega Man 2 because people tell you it's the best Mega Man, and you're like, fuck balls, this is hard as shit. I quit. Pick up Mega Man 11.
I don't usually say
because
balls, but when I do,
it's a good sort of gateway to the Mega Man stuff.
Next thing you know, you're going to be playing Mega Man 12 some dark alley somewhere.
Also, check out the Proto Men because
the Proto Men. We've talked about them at length.
Hopefully, their new album will be out before too long.
God. I recently picked up Spider-Man. That's another one.
Grady literally just looked at me and did the Spider-Man web shooting motion because he wanted to talk about it.
I just picked Spider-Man back. I played the shit out of it when it came out. I actually just picked it back up because they added a bunch of new suits and that free silver DLC. So I've been playing the hell out of that. That game is incredible.
Yeah, I played it a little bit visiting a friend of ours, and I loved it. I just hadn't had a chance to purchase it yet.
It's just so... After what's the trajectory of Spider-Man games that was terrible for a while, right?
Not great.
Basically every Spider-Man game after Spider-Man 2.
Spider-Man 2 was great, that's for sure. What came out after Spider-Man 2 that I haven't played?
Spider-Man 3, and then
was that the one with Venom in it?
Those. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I did play that one.
Yeah. Well, yes, sort of. And then there was the
which one could you play as Venom?
Ultimate. That was the Ultimate Spider-Man.
I played that one.
That one was okay. That one was okay.
Friend or foe? Spider-Man Friend or foe was a thing.
Friend or foe, the multiverse.
The multiverse, Spider-Man multiverse.
No, that's a movie.
I remember watching
Spider-Man
you playing that, and I said, "This looks really boring."
Off a little bit.
There was another one. The multiverse one was kind of cool because you did you go through and you played as Spider-Man, then you played as Spider-Man 2099, then you played as the noir Spider-Man, and it was but it wasn't open world. It wasn't open world, and that's the way Spider-Man games had been basically since GameCube,
Spider-Man
PS2,
2, man,
Xbox
that shit
era,
was balling.
All of the Spider-Man games that had come out between.
Forever. I didn't even care if I was doing anything, just swinging around the city.
Yeah, that's what I love about this is
exactly
go to the top of
and that's what
Empire State Building and shit.
The Empire State Building,
free flowing. You can.
And that's what makes this. That's what makes this Spider-Man so cool, is because it just feels so good to just swing around the city.
Mm-hmm. No, that goes back to Spider-Man 2. If you can get me a Spider-Man game where it just feels good to move around.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there is something about the open worldness of it for sure.
But yeah, so basically, Grady, every single Spider-Man game that has come out since the GameCube era,
Spider-Man 2 to now.
I didn't fuck with them till this one, and I was like, oh, this one's great. And the unlockables are cool and everything. You're really following the story and stuff, but you don't feel pressured to really. There's not a whole lot of artificial. You better get to
Well, no, they'll do
There's a
that. They'll say,
couple
you better
times,
get
but
down
yeah.
here, but it doesn't force you into it.
Yeah, and you can just
Yeah.
like say what I'm gonna like collect these photographs.
Okay, you know,
you can say you can do whatever you want to do.
In the real world, I did spend 4 hours collecting things, but canonically, I came here right away. Come on.
Yeah, exactly,
It's just like
yeah.
Kiryu in the Yakuza series.
Yeah, no,
Kiryu never kills. Well, I just stabbed a guy 15 times in the chest in that battle sequence. Yeah, but that didn't actually happen canonically, Chris. Okay, if you say so.
Well, you know, it's funny. We talked about how in Spider-Man, how like you're fighting thugs
You throw
on
people
top
up-
of the, and you just launch them off the tops of these like this multi-hundred-story
Assume
buildings.
you murder them.
No,
But I was playing it the other day, and I actually sent a picture to the boys. I had like knocked these 2 snipers off the building, and then I'd gone to fight their other companions on another building rooftop that was a little bit lower. And I turned around and I saw the 2 dudes fucking webbed to the side. I was like, how did you do that, Peter? How did you manage to do that?
Split second web. Yeah.
Yeah. But no, it's great. So this is the first Spider-Man game you've really played through, like
yeah,
in depth, Grady.
Did you play the DLC at all?
no, I haven't yet.
Okay. If you buy all 3 and played them all in order, I feel like it'd be more fun. I played them one at a time, and they're too short to kind of enjoy completely.
Okay,
But the story overall is cute.
But they're good.
Well,
but I think they're worth
video
it.
games like I eat, which is really slowly. So, so yeah, it takes me a while to get through them. But no, I've loved just fucking chilling and just going around and being like, hey, it's a bank robbery. I'm going to stop that. You know.
Yeah,
You get to be
It's
Spider-Man.
fun.
Also, that's pretty cool.
It's the closest I'll come to supporting cops, but you know.
Yeah, I mean it's great because I do find myself like sometimes I just end up just swinging around. It's like, you know, I theoretically have like a goal in mind and like I'm supposed to be going and doing here, and I just
But then
find
you're like,
myself.
oh,
just
I could
kind of,
swing
like,
over
just-
there. I could climb up that building.
Yeah, like trying to like build speed or do some cool stuff, run along the side of it. Like the controls are so smooth and fluid. Like you can just like it just feels so good.
Well, and in other news, I want to get some other things off this list.
Yep.
Well, I said being positive, so I'm going to go ahead and cross off Kingdom Hearts 3.
Roxas does
Yeah.
exist.
I tried to like it, guys. Like,
I don't care about Kingdom Hearts. I don't
can-
even.
but like the anime elements of it just make it such a slog. I can't recommend it. I just can't.
Chris, what if you were waiting in line at the bank and you looked over?
I don't
and
go to
there
the bank. I cash all my checks through a phone app now.
and there was a Steven standing there.
Oh, and he had anime eyes.
But he he had anime eyes.
Okay,
What'd you
so let me.
What if he face faulted in front of you?
What kind of hairstyle does
Great
Anime
face fault
Steven
sound.
have?
He has Goku but
Yeah.
yellow.
Goku but yellow. So he's Super Saiyan Goku.
No,
hairstyle.
he's not Super
No.
Saiyan Goku. He's
Oh, he
standard
just has
Goku.
Standard
but it's
Goku, yellow hair.
He's standard-
But he's not wearing the.
I'm not wearing a gi.
Yeah, he's not wearing the turtle hermit gi.
But he has like the big anime eyes.
He has
and
big
everything.
anime eyes, and then he face faults.
Is he wearing Steven's gi or
No.
Goku's
No,
gi?
he's not. He's wearing
No,
nothing.
He's just wearing. But he falls on his face.
No, he face faults.
That's why he face faults, because he realizes
his
he's
face
nude.
just goes from anime eye Steven to like his straight line, huge eyes sort of thing. Like
Oh, I'd probably leave.
just leave.
Get out of
Just
here.
leave. Like, oh, I don't need this. I can't deal with this.
Just like turn on your heel and just, nope.
All I wanted
Not
to do
today.
was
Nope.
cash this check, and I can't do that. I can't do this with him.
You wouldn't
here.
even give him some clothes to cover up? Jeez, I would give you my shirt, Steven. So you
Wait, I
can
didn't know he
tie it
didn't have
around
a
your
cape.
waist.
me,
Why is he nude?
Why is he nude? I didn't hear that.
Well, he doesn't know and you don't know, but help your fellow man out, you know?
Well, I will say that I did have Grady play a bunch, like about an hour of My Friend Pedro today.
That was dope.
Grady
Yeah,
played with
dope
your
as
friend,
shit.
Yeah.
friend Pedro?
My
What?
official review is dope as shit. 4.5 out of 5 stars.
What upsets me is that he got to the point where you can kick a frying pan into a room and then shoot it and ricochet the bullets off to kill a bunch of people. And I wasn't watching when he did that, so I got to miss his experience with it. I was
was so
looking
much
the other
fun.
way.
So,
was
Grady,
just
you said
standing
only
below
4.5
everybody's-
out of 5 stars. What got you down about it?
The 0.5 star that's missing is my skill in the game. I'm not very good at it.
I hate this game because I'm bad at it. Like, that's why you rate it low.
No, yeah.
Well, I will say for a legitimate reason to lower it by at least maybe a half a star is it is fucking short
Yeah.
as hell. Yeah, I mean, you could sit down and beat it.
Yeah, I do that all the time.
Yeah.
And there we go. No, but it's really
there's
fun.
my
Like,
friend Pedro.
It looked great. I hadn't had a chance to play it either. I've been bad at video games for the past year. So
It's fun.
If you have a
It's
Switch,
fun.
get
It's
that
just
fucker on
short.
the Switch. Playing that on the go, like I can't. wait
use
to
your
need to
disposable
have to do
income
that.
to give me the Switch.
Hey, all of you listening, support our Patreon so that we can buy Josh a Switch.
That's true. We're on Patreon at the Sagely Stage Stooges.
You can do it. My shout out to one of my main Red Robin bartenders. Like, according to him, he bought his Switch when he had to be up in Delaware on business, and he bought it with no taxes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
so I just
he
need to
had
go
it
to
for
Delaware. Okay.
Way cheap. Yeah, just go to Delaware and buy
Save
it.
me 8% on that
Delaware,
shit.
home of Fighting Joe Biden.
Fighting Joe. Fighting
If
hair
he were
plug
a
Joe.
Union general, he would
Kazakhstan
be Fighting
Joe?
Biden, is all I'm saying.
No, now he's just Sleepy Joe. Which
Sleepy
is
Joe.
which is the stupidest. I don't want to get into it. This is not the time for that.
So is there anything else?
Let's see. Other games I played, Nintendo has consistently had a strong showing. We talked about a little bit about, but I really enjoyed Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu.
Yeah.
We
my
all played
girlfriend's never
Apex
played a Pokemon
Legends
game,
for a
really.
little while.
We did play, but
It was
that was
fun.
not
Yeah.
announced at
Enjoyed it.
E3. That was a stealth release
But they talked about season 2 at E3 this
Yeah, they
year.
got some new characters
this year,
and stuff.
but not last year.
You know,
Yeah.
apparently. I hadn't played it in a while, but it was fun. Sure. For
Smash
like
Brothers
a
Ultimate?
Battle Royale style or whatever. It was alright.
Smash Brothers Ultimate has remained fantastic. We
yeah.
have this year we have Banjo Kazooie announced. That's
Nice.
I'm excited for that. But the game has been great since day one.
I love me some Banjo and a little bit Kazooie.
There were a couple other things that were announced at E3 2018 that I have enjoyed. I mean, Spyro was there.
Spyro was at
enjoyed
E3?
that. Yeah, dude, he
Yeah,
was
the
there
dragon.
as a dragon.
Shit, man. How did I not hear about that?
Octopath is good.
Octopath Traveler.
Octopath. I actually had that written down because I didn't know if you wanted to talk about it.
I was kind of interested in it when they released it. Yeah, I mean, have you played it, Steven?
We can give Squaresoft some love. Or Square Enix.
Yeah. So the only thing I'll say about it, because anything else will just be kind of too in depth to really at this point. If you like old school RPGs, if you like that old school, it kind of plays like some of the middle-aged Phantasy Star games, or like Final Fantasy like 2.
It kind of
1
looked
and 2.
like it, so.
It's got kind of a timer element to your
I see.
moves. So it's not just like strictly turn-based. It's got some like an element of timing,
Like Chrono Trigger?
or like the old Tales
Yeah.
games, Tales of like Fantasia,
Tales of Fantasia.
kind of those stuff.
They actually announced
As
the
the-
new Tales game at the most recent E3, didn't they?
I don't know.
They
maybe.
did. He's correct.
Tales of
There's so
Vesperia remastered or something
Well,
like that?
they re-released Tales of Vesperia, yeah, which I actually
Dude,
probably will buy. Because that
I would
was
I'd love to play
really
that
good.
again.
That one's
That shit was fun.
and it's been only a 360 exclusive for so long, and I haven't. Yeah, no, that
Tales
was-
of Arise
oh,
was announced.
Rice Chicken?
So, anyway, never mind. I don't remember much about it. I just remember
Chicken.
they did.
But yeah, so it's super old school in the mechanics, but the art is fucking beautiful. I mean, the way that the environments are designed and built are gorgeous. It's super in depth. It is deep because there are, get this, 8 different paths.
Almost like an octopus or an octagon.
Or Octavia.
or an
Oh,
octopath.
shit. Yeah. I didn't even think
Whoa,
about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Octopath. Never mind.
there's 8 different characters, and you kind of go through their stories, and they all end up intertwining as like you kind of go through them all. But it's really cool. The stories are great. It's so well written. If you like that old school style, that style is slow. So keep that in mind. It's a very
Definitely have to have the right mindset going into it.
exactly. It's a very old school style of RPG, but it is worth it for the story. I mean, like, and if you just like that game.
Yeah, the concept was really neat to me. That like 8 different stories that kind of intertwine like that.
And honestly, even if you're just on the fence about wanting to play it, you have a Switch, you can download the demo and you can play like the first like hour of each character. So I mean, there's a lot of
Really
gameplay in that.
That's
demo.
a hell of a demo, really.
It's and if you do decide to buy the game, what you've already done in the demo carries over to your game.
That's the way to
so
do it,
that's
guys.
really cool.
Everybody
Yeah.
take note of that shit.
That's an old school
Yeah,
thing.
exactly. Yep. So yeah, it's really good. I do recommend it if you have an itch for an old school RPG.
I've been thinking about
experience.
picking up Fire Emblem, but I haven't pulled the Switch.
Yeah,
pulled the
I don't know.
trigger.
It's
Yeah.
been a while for me on Fire Emblem. I mean, I like them, but
I've heard this.
Fire Emblems
everything I've read
are
about this
grind.
new one is that it's incredible. Everything I've read about it is.
What's it called? House?
Three Houses.
I like the stories, and I mean, it's always been, gameplay and everything's always been solid, but they do, kind of like Steven said, they're kind of a grind in the past.
Oof. Yeah. Well, and especially, I don't know how they do it these days. I mean, the last one I played was the first one they did for the 3DS. And, like...
Awakening?
I can't... Awakening?
Fate?
Awakening.
Right. Was it Awakening or Fate? It was Awakening. Awakening was first.
Awakening, yeah. And I played that one permadeath, because that's the way Fire Emblem was. So I don't know if they have that option anymore in these.
Oh, they do.
If they do, I always have to do
there's
it.
There's an
so
option
I always have
to
play as permadeath.
The only
and then
difference
I have to
is
reset.
whenever I play permadeath, I just restart a battle if I lose. Like somebody.
Well, yeah, but then you end up restarting a battle like 18 times, and you put like 16 hours of gameplay, and you haven't progressed.
I know,
once.
but I'm not going to play it on the I'm not going to play it on the pussy setting, but I'm also not going to lose anybody. So it's really, really hard.
It's a struggle, man.
It really is. Nice. It's not necessarily an RPG, but the other, like I said, I played Yakuza Kiwami 2. I love the Yakuza series at this point. It's fantastic.
Chris is part of the Yakuza now.
Zero.
I am. Yeah, they invited me on. Although now I'm playing Judgment, which is in the Yakuza series, but you don't play as Yakuza, so they kicked me out.
So now he's no longer
he
Yakuza.
Does have a sweet chest.
Let's all have a moment of silence for Chris's brief Yakuza run.
Well, I mean, he's going to die soon, right?
No,
Steven, this is a moment of silence.
Oh, sorry.
Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu, like I said, Nintendo has been
talks about that.
In and out, fantastic. They also add this new element. I don't know if I mentioned this, Steven, but they had this new thing where after you beat the game, you can go through the whole map again, and there will be people there, one for each Pokemon, and you have to fight them with that Pokemon only. So,
oh, cool.
Look, I have a Caterpie. Well, now you have to fight that Caterpie with a Caterpie, but that Caterpie might be level 50, so you might need a level 50 Caterpie to fight that person.
That's cool. Yeah. I like that.
No, I don't know if y'all knew about that, but yeah, no, they force you to. There's a person on the map once you go through it, and there's special trainer battles where if you want to fight this person, you have to fight them with this Pokemon, and if Pokemon's not leveled up, you're gonna get your shit kicked in.
All right, so imagine for a
go
second.
grinding, baby.
We gotta have another hypothetical here. Imagine for a second that we are in the world of Pokemon. Okay, we're all Pokemon trainers.
Okay.
And you guys are all regular ass Pokemon trainers. You get Pokemon, you train them.
I probably just hang out and eat Doritos with them, but sure.
Now you know me. I'm one of your friends, and you haven't met my Pokemon yet.
Okay.
And when you meet me, you find out that I only have one Pokemon.
Lame.
And that it's a level 50 Caterpie.
Lame.
What do you do? What's your reaction?
I
unfriend you on Facebook and stop talking to you.
I walk over to your Caterpie and I step on it. I say, fuck you.
What is wrong with this guy?
No, man, I applaud you because no one's ever had the patience to get a Caterpie that high level yet.
Yeah, I don't like
submit
you very much,
your profile to.
I like how
Guinness
everyone's taking
Book
this
of
so
World
personally.
Records.
I really, really hate you because you did that.
Yeah, I'm offended by your.
I take your Caterpie away from you and give it to some animal Pokemon protection services. Because you haven't allowed it to evolve.
PPS.
Yeah, take your Caterpie away from you and immediately let it evolve.
Yeah.
For real, man.
What have you done to this poor creature?
That's hilarious.
Is that the noise they make, or is that Butterfree? That's Butterfree.
That's Butterfree.
We should probably just cut that out and use that noise for a lot of things.
That's
my
the
text
stinger.
message tone.
That's the new intro music, actually. It's just set on loop.
You just take that voice, that clip, and just remix it.
Yeah. We can put that shit.
If you love Pokemon Let's Go, or if you love Pokemon Yellow, but you don't mind the throwing a Pokeball to catch things, then I had a lot of fun. Especially if you have a significant other who's not played them before and they want to get into it, that's an amazing start. My girlfriend's played hours of it.
Dude, our listeners don't have girlfriends. Everyone knows that.
That's true. Yeah, get some girlfriends, you losers.
Yeah, you losers.
Boyfriends?
Get some girlfriends, boyfriends, non-binary friends, whatever.
The other thing is...
get some friends, you
nude
losers.
friends.
Nude friends, now I get nude. The other thing is Plague Tale Innocence. I've enjoyed. I've beaten it about a month.
Oh yeah, I bought that. I haven't played it.
Have you played it yet? Play it. It's a fun game. Like I told you, via chat. It's slow to start, but as you get new ammo and upgrades, it becomes a lot of fun. The story's fantastic. You're going to care about these characters a lot, actually.
You can't make me.
Short and sweet. I liked it a lot. It wasn't what I was expecting when they announced it at E3, because it was, you just saw this like giant rat swarm. I thought it'd be more action based.
Dude,
nope.
Swarms are so hard to kill.
It's more of a stealth game.
Gotta have like splash weapons.
It's a stealth puzzle game, but it's fun.
Magic.
And it's not.
Yeah, it looks good. I bought it when it was on sale. I hadn't loaded it.
And its main price is not $60 or anything. It's worth it. It's worth it to play. But now basically we're just kind of waiting on these games that we've been waiting on since E3 2018 that we were excited about. Ghost of Tsushima, Outer Wilds, stuff like that. We've been waiting on it, but I have to wait a little bit longer. No worries.
Has anyone played Harry Potter or Wizards Unite? It's like the Harry Potter version of Pokemon Go.
Except it's not really.
Hey, Josh.
It's made of the same people, but you don't catch wizards.
I was going to say, do you throw like wizard balls at? You throw seekers at
Wizard balls.
Only if you're hanging out with Dumbledore.
Yes, Harry.
Hang on my wizard balls.
Eastern European for some reason.
Yes, Harry. Play with my wizard balls.
It's the Eastern Bloc version of Dumbledore.
Guys,
right.
y'all have a niche here. We
Dusseldorf.
probably need to make a porno.
Probably.
One thing we haven't touched on are the sports titles for EA. If we want to, real quick, I can just
go for it, Gradles.
For those few bros out there listening,
if you're still here, bros.
Oh shit, it's Young Kiv.
Yeah,
shit, man.
The only thing I'm going to focus on is FIFA and Madden. Two of the ones that I spend an inordinate amount of time playing. FIFA is getting in FIFA 20. They're introducing a game mode called Volta, which is like a street version.
Street
it's
soccer.
An indoor soccer version.
Okay. Like FIFA Street.
Yeah, but it's geared toward like indoor or cage style soccer, where you can like use the wall.
People play soccer in cages?
Yeah, if they're playing
like
soccer in an
football.
Amazon warehouse.
Yeah, and you also play
or
football
a
in
concentration
the street.
camp on the border.
You should play football in the street.
No.
Like NFL Street, where I remember
That
playing.
was so much fun.
I remember playing it, and the quarterback for the Texans being David Carr. Do you remember how old that is?
Dude, I was playing that with Ricky Williams.
Jesus.
Ricky Williams!
No, but so they have Volta, that kind of quasi street, but I don't think it's going to be great. The only comment I wanted to make on that was the whole
loot box thing,
the Juventus, like the
exclusive licensing deal with PES,
Juventus
Konami's thing. Yeah.
Screw them anyway.
The licensing is just getting worse and worse between these two titles. I do like that PES is being a competitive alternative,
even though it's Konami and they're a trash company. But yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, I do like that there is a competitive alternative. I just hate the licensing issue where you have to get one game or another that has your team or not, or you have to choose, and whether you want your game to not have Bayern Munich or whether you want your game to not have Real Madrid or whoever.
Yeah, it's dumb.
I saw them play each other a couple days ago, about a week ago.
True, yeah.
A week ago, yeah.
So I think that's annoying. But other than that, FIFA really didn't
AC Milan or bust.
shine as something brand new. They mentioned some mechanics changes that they didn't. They were very vague in the wording of it.
Yeah, most of the updates to FIFA are like collision mechanics and stuff, right?
Collision animations are.
Seems like that's usually what they're upgrading.
You have more control over the ball than you ever have before.
You can literally drop down a mouse and pick up the ball and throw it in your opponent's goal at any time you want.
But yeah, I mean, FIFA is awesome. I like it. I play like 3 or 4 years behind the current FIFA usually, but it's fun.
But no, great. We were talking about that a while back because I said it's interesting how with American sports, everything goes to the NFL, everything goes to the NBA, everything goes to the MLB. So if a deal is going to be struck, it's going to have all the teams.
That's assault.
Whereas you have so many different leagues, you have so many different cups, and you have FIFA cups, you have different cups, and
A cups, B cups, C cups,
different organizations.
All these teams can make the deals as they wish. So you can't just go to FIFA and say I want the licensing deal for all these different teams.
Yeah,
you have to go to the teams, which leaves them
FIFA's very UN in terms of its power relative to its members. You know, like Liverpool is and Bayern Munich and Arsenal. All these teams are run by multi-billionaires.
By lizard people,
Saudi and Emirate oil.
Well, Bayern isn't, but Arsenal is run by.
They're run by
rich people.
By Bayer. They have pharmaceuticals.
Arsenal is definitely run by lizard people. Liverpool run by God-fearing Americans.
No, no. Arsenal's run by Kroenke, Stan Kroenke, the American.
Walter Cronkite?
Oh, Arsenal.
Well, there you go. Yeah, Arsenal is. Yeah.
No. Anyway, so yeah, FIFA. Not too many updates there. Madden. The big thing on Madden.
It was his forehead.
Is
or his jowls.
Well, his girth in general.
The big thing about Madden was his girth.
No, but the only thing, well, there's a lot of updates to Ultimate Team and to stuff like that, which I'm a bad Madden player. I don't play.
Online, you mean?
Grady
I don't
play
Ultimate Team online and everything.
Always
I
said
just
that
do
about
like franchise mode, which did not get anything. So if you're a franchise mode player, Madden, nothing, no update. Pretty much.
Did they? Are they doing the? What's it called? What was that story mode called?
They're doing QB1.
Oh.
It's there's a story mode.
Why can't I be like a lineman in my story mode?
So you're like a you're
a dragon?
You're a dragon. You're dragonborn. And you can shout down.
Dude, using the Thuum on the football field is not fair. Oh, now look, there's a lane open for my running back.
So in exchange for the face of the franchise, you get QB1. You can insert yourself into the role of a draft hopeful quarterback who goes through the draft process. Blah blah blah.
Dude, that is
I
so
insert myself
biased.
into another QB.
You can insert yourself into a draft ready quarterback who can now
against his will, or does he have to consent?
It's
insert yourself.
Oh damn it!
Oh god.
Anyway, there's not a lot of updates to franchise mode. There are updates, of course, to the smoothness, like Steven very well parodied. You're going to have more control over your player on the field than you've ever had before. Of course. One big deal for me as a peasant franchise player is that you'll get Pro Bowl back, which you just have been locked out of for the past 3 or so iterations of it, which is completely inconsequential, pretty much.
But Grady likes it.
It's cool at the end of the season to see that an entire half of the NFC team is made up of your players because you're so cool.
Well, it's just like NBA 2K or anything else. Like, I want a story mode for a sports game where eventually, I'm hanging out at a party and a friend of mine walks up and it's like, "Yo, bro, do this cocaine.
You want to smoke this doobie?"
And then it gives you a choice, do cocaine, get tested, and get suspended, or don't do cocaine.
No, why would it give you do
2K.
cocaine and get tested? It should just do cocaine or not, and then if you do, then you get tested.
Yeah, there's another dice roll that says whether or not you will be.
Right.
Okay, we make that randomized. It's you never know, but you might get laid that night if you do it. So
True.
you have to
and you won't if you don't. So yeah.
Yeah, you can't know the
it's like,
consequences
it's like
of your actions before you make them. Come on.
It's like that 2K game that Spike Lee wrote.
Oh, the NBA 2K. I think it was 18 that he did.
2K 17, 18, yeah, something like that.
Yeah, where you play you belong. You get raised in a black family no matter what. So if you create a white character, you're still raised by black people. He's still talking, "Oh, come on, Mom. Shit. I don't want to fucking do that." And it's just like,
well, and your sister's
this
like
feels
Asian.
really uncomfortable. Because
At least it's all-inclusive. We've got the whites, the blacks, and the Asians.
But they all talk the same way, no matter what.
Yeah, you're black Irish. It's fine.
You're black Irish.
I'm black Irish. All right, that's my bit. There you go.
Anywho, as long as there are microtransactions, I'll keep playing it.
So,
don't
anyway,
worry,
what's
there will
everyone's opinion over the state of the game industry at this point?
Nintendo crushing it.
Yeah.
Question that
Winners
first.
and losers and such.
Capcom's doing well too.
Capcom's doing really well. Nintendo's doing really well.
Bethesda's on the verge of imploding. They need to figure some shit out.
So is BioWare.
So is BioWare. EA is EA. Will always be EA.
CD Projekt Red, we didn't talk anything about. CD Projekt Red is killing it. I'm super looking forward to Cyberpunk.
Oh, yeah, man.
Cyberpunk looks fucking
Dude,
amazing.
Keanu Reeves is in it. And he's the best person on the
You're
planet.
breathtaking.
You're breathtaking, and you're breathtaking. You're all breathtaking.
I love Keanu Reeves.
Oh, Keanu.
Would love to have Keanu Reeves on the cast if he ever hears this. Come on, we'll talk. We'll be friends.
Yeah, hit us up at the SS Stooges.
Devolver Digital didn't release a whole lot this past E3, but they had a hilarious conference.
The hilarious thing about Devolver Digital is they released an actual collection of games that were based around knockoffs of their real games. Like, they actually released that. Like, here's just
they
fake
released
versions
bootlegs of their own games.
Yeah, they're great.
They did that.
For 1% off.
They actually made that arcade cabinets real. That's gonna show up somewhere.
Yeah,
you can buy that. Like,
I'm pretty sure you can.
'Cause I think you can. And like, what's funny is because their first joke conference, which was 2017, like all the games that they announced there were fake. Everything since then has been fucking real.
Yeah,
and it's been crazy.
Like all those games last year, we were like, okay, like some of these aren't real,
but
right?
they were.
Just like last cast when we were talking about trolls, Devolver Digital knows their fucking clientele, man.
No, not only clientele, but just like they know how to make fun of the industry as it is now.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, it's perfect. Like the clip, that I'm gonna put at the beginning here. I mentioned I posted in the Discord if y'all want to hear. I mean, it's just like the perfect example of like the parody. It's just such a beautiful parody of E3.
Like last year, you had premium currency you could buy, and its value changed constantly.
Oh yeah,
it's like Bitcoin, but Devolver coin. Yeah, it's great. They called this one Devolver Direct, and it's just a fucking. It's a direct parody of Nintendo Direct and all of them.
Well, yeah, they're making fun of the fact that they're like all those conferences are making fun of E3, and now they got to the point where they're like, we don't even have to show up to E3. We can just put out a video when E3 airs, and fuck you. And it's great.
Video games are great. Some of them aren't.
Oh, you know what we didn't touch on?
What we didn't? Oh, Google Stadia. We should talk about Google Stadia.
Oh God.
Do you want to talk about?
We have to.
The second you mentioned that, I was like, we have to talk about Stadia. That thing looks like cancer.
Don't do it.
Don't
Just
buy it.
Just don't.
Just don't. Makes so much sense.
One, your internet probably can't support it. And two, the idea that I'm going to, pay for your console, then I'm going to pay for your subscription service, and then I have to pay for $60 just to stream your game that may or may not work, and if your servers go down, I can't play it at all, and if you decide to kill your console because it's not successful, then I lose all the money I've invested into it forever.
People stream
Probably better than Two Worlds.
movies on Netflix. Why shouldn't they Netflix their games on Google Stadia?
Because Google has already said, Grady, and I realize we're doing a bit here, like, Google has already said that this isn't Netflix for games, because you have to pay for the fucking games on top of everything else.
Right. So since we are talking about clarify, you have to buy the system, you have to buy the subscription. Okay. Then you stream the games, but you have to buy the game first. But buying the game does not
give you ownership.
Guarantee you own the game, and this is historically something that Google has had problems with in the past. Mm-hmm. There have been a history of games on the Google Play Store that have been removed from the Google Play Store for various reasons, copyrights, this, that, or the other. And if you had bought the game on your Google Play app on your phone, you now no longer had that game. It was removed from your phone. Bullshit.
Not only that, Steven, there's another, we talked about the Doom store stuff earlier on the cast. Mm. So the reason everyone made a big thing about Dooms 1, 2, and 3 coming to PS4 and Switch was because Doom 1 and 2 were actually already on the Xbox 360. You could download those. But because of this new announcement where they're putting them on Xbox One, PS4, and Switch, and mobile phones, they actually delisted them off of the Xbox 360. So,
interesting.
If you bought Doom 1 or 2 on the Xbox 360, but, at the current time that they did this, you didn't have them downloaded onto your console, you can't get them anymore. So those games that you already bought, you don't have access to anymore. So you have to rebuy them on the current consoles if you didn't have them downloaded on your system. So what Steven was mentioning is true. Like, without these ownership rights, along with downloads, which is now getting even worse because I can't download this thing. I can't put it on my system. Now we're seeing the problem where I don't even have to worry about this getting delisted because I didn't have it currently downloaded on it before it was delisted, you don't have to worry about that at all. Because once everything gets delisted, you don't even have the option to hold on to it anymore.
Well, I don't know. One of these things is you're, making a big deal about ownership and everything. But, millennials don't even like to own things. We prefer to rent them.
Dude, speak for yourself. I like owning stuff.
Yeah, well, no, man. Millennials have an innate aversion that has nothing to do with our capacity to own, nothing to do with
our capacity to understand ownership.
We don't have capacities, Grady.
Our capacity to want ownership, we should all just share our games with each other, right?
Right? Yeah, it's a sharing economy. It has nothing to do with just having.
Yeah, but we're bad at sharing.
So buy stuff with? No. It's just, we just don't like owning stuff. It's not that we're too poor to. We just don't
own things. We just don't like it.
Yeah, we
just don't like the concept.
Just let us have it for a little while and then take it.
That's all. So that's why Google Stadia is good.
Like Hope,
Don't people.
Don't buy it. No one's going to, Steve, and I think it's going to be too expensive for the deal you get. I don't think it's going to work out.
Unless it legitimately becomes the Netflix, like how GameFly used to do.
It's not going
their
to.
Infrastructure
They've already said it
never
won't
caught
be.
up.
So.
They're supposed to have kind of PSN style free games a month.
Well,
doesn't
right? PlayStation kind of have that capability already? Like you can rent games sort of and pseudo download them.
Uh-huh. PlayStation Now.
Well, you can download them and you get to keep them as long as you're subscribed.
Right.
So it's the same thing, but it doesn't apply to every single game I buy on the platform.
Yeah, I just feel like the process is already out there and probably not that terribly popular, so I don't know how it's going to work.
No, that's what I'm worried about. I feel like it's the future and there's nothing we can do to stop it.
But with PlayStation Now, you don't have to buy the games. You just buy the subscription and you get
right, but the games that you get for free on PSN... you lose once you stop spending.
Oh, sure. That's different. Yeah, that's different.
But my point was that all the other games you buy on it, you get to keep. Now, the only... And that was telling Grady...
Well, it's different than PlayStation Now.
The difference is, with PT, as long as I have PT downloaded on my hard drive, I can't lose it. If I take it off my hard drive, then it's gone forever because it's been delisted. And that's what happened to Doom 1 and 2 on the Xbox 360. If you didn't have them downloaded when these new games went live, then you lost them because they delisted them. That's already a huge issue with ownership rights. But now you're dealing with a console that doesn't give you ownership rights even to that extent.
Yeah.
Well, we can discuss it more on our next Games Cast.
It was good to do. I miss talking about video games. I love talking about video games more than anything because I'm a fucking man-child. So
yeah, it was past due. It's been a while.
A year? Over a year?
We mentioned, obviously some here and there, but we really hadn't had one dedicated to it. And we figured, kind of takeaways from E3 was a good way to kind of tie it all together.
To get Chris his fix so he wouldn't, blow up and attack us all.
Don't blame this on me. This was Steven's idea. But I was very, very agreeable to it.
I blame them both.
I'm just picking on you, buddy.
That's fine.
Pick on me.
I find that perfectly acceptable. So, without
perfectly acceptable.
any more rambling, thanks. You're breathtaking.
You're all breathtaking.
All of our listeners are breathtaking.
My name is Steven, and for all of these silly people, Josh and Chris and Grady, we've been the Sagely Stage Stooges.
Don't lump me in with them.
You've been awesome.
We've been awesome too.
Kind of awesome.
Trust me.
You've been good enough.
You've been adequate.
You've been perfectly adequate.
Don't talk about our listeners like that, all 7 of them.
Hey, all 7 of you listeners, why don't you go down to the store and buy a pair of britches and send me the receipt. I'll pay for them.
I'm going to put this all over Reddit just so you have to buy a shit ton of pants for people.